Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 99. And this is a little intro before Jenny Tinmouth's podcast. We actually recorded that a few weeks ago, but with this, there's just been so much happening with MotoGP, and obviously we've been busy as well. So we thought we'd do a quick intro and smash everything out before the pod. But if you are watching or listening to this, do stay on board for the Jenny podcast because it's really good.
There we go. I tell you what, let's start it off. That is a lovely T-shirt. That mind.
I know we've been. Do you know what? We've been running out of clothes to wear for the podcast.
This is a shameless plug, by the way. This is all a coy. It's all a plan. But we are.
I've been trying to like keep it fresh, and I think I just about finished my wardrobe. And you've sorted this, haven't you? The old Bruce from Teapot One, fantastic podcast and YouTube channel. So check it out, Bruce at Teapot One. He's very kindly sent us a T-shirt each. So we need to get our finger out and get our merchandise sorted. So we're going to send him some.
I was about to say we've actually behind the scenes working very hard. We've got some lovely bobble hats and all sorts of things that we've been grafting on with.
Coming soon.
Definitely looking forward to that. Go on, let's put a teaser out there. When are we thinking? A month, 2 years?
It'll be next few weeks. By the time this podcast goes out, it'll be pretty soon. Patrons are going to get the first week. So maybe a bit of a discount. We'll sort something out and then we'll be putting them on sale. So
absolutely awesome. We've
had the samples as well, and they do look nice, don't they?
They look very good.
So I'll tell you what else we have got, but it's not actually merchandise. It's not for sale. It's just my dad's just sorted some lovely new pens, Chasing the Racing pens. So I think we'll maybe do some giveaways or something. And nice, good quality. I'll get you one, Dom.
Cheers, mate. I can't write, so it's wasted on me.
I'll take them to school as well for knowing the kids forget the pens. And there
we go.
You can have it on one condition: you like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple.
Damn right. Hey, everything has a cost. Everything has a price, mate. There you go. So I'll tell you what. Before we delve into the world of motorbikes, what else has been going on? The Duke of Edinburgh's dead.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nicely subtly delivered by me. I'm very shameless to say.
I know it's 99. It would have been nice to see him to get to the 100, but
get a letter from his wife.
Do you know
well
what?
Done, son.
He's had one hell of an innings, and I never actually realised all the things he's done and he's invented. Since he's been alive.
Invented.
Yeah, he's invented all kinds of cool things, and
what's one of his? I'm putting you on the spot here now. So
one of them was he invented this trailer which folded out into like a barbecue and like a sitting area. He's like proper clever, and
is he a bit of a festival goer?
The car that's
so imagine the Duke of Edinburgh popping knees in Glastonbury. Whoop.
The car that his coffin's going to be taken in. He designed it himself, the Land Rover. He's got his own design. He's do you know Brian Cox, the physicist? He once was sat next to him at a dinner, and he couldn't believe like how much he knew, how clever he was in like engineering, and he's done all kind like unbelievable things like during the war and like proper bloke like.
Oh, he's a hell. Oh well, yeah.
He's well known for saying the wrong things and inappropriate things.
Oh, and God, he's come out with some absolutely cracking one-liners.
Nobody's perfect, are there?
Oh God, no.
On the whole, he's lived a hell of a life. But that's all. To be fair, I don't really watch I don't watch much news and stuff. But every time I'm sat in the house or whatever, it's like not always on the news in it. So I think people will probably be sick of hearing it by the time this is out.
Where were you when you discovered the news?
I was over in the Lake District. I think it was the day that we were out trials riding, I think. When did you go?
We were I was at work, right? We were clearing these trees at school, at a school just outside of Lower Fell. And so the news comes on, emergency broadcast. Prince Philip has passed away, and yes, he's done this with his life and everything like that. And goes, yes, and he's sadly departed, and it was followed up by Sean Paul temperature. I could not believe the subtlety of it all. Actually going from, yes, we've lost part of the monarch, straight to Sean Paul getting jiggy. It was a beautiful moment in radio history for me. I couldn't help but laugh.
Do you know they did the 41...
What was that? What was that motion for our YouTube?
Is it the rocket things? They send 41 off at the south coast. Apparently, the French have already surrendered.
For God's sake, man. Hey, that's terrible. I tell you what, we haven't had a joke in ages, have we?
I know.
We haven't had a joke in ages. We shouldn't be doing it now, but I tell you what, my gran, right, you know, when you're talking about the older generation, she's knocking on the door of 90, and it's only now I'm starting to, like, for people who have just tuned into this podcast, first of all, where have you been? Second of all, like, I totally treat my parents and my grandparents totally different. I don't swear in front of them, I don't back answer them, nothing cheeky. That's just the way I was brought up. But anyway, I was just like, I'm going to try my luck a little bit here. In many, many moons later, I'm going to try my luck now. And I said to Gran, I goes, I've got a joke for you. And you're not going to find it very tasteful. And she goes, oh, go on then. So anyway, me Pop, right, who's my granddad. He didn't want to be called Grandad, so we called him Pop. So anyway, he comes in. He's over the 90 barrier. So he comes in and sits down. I can't say, oh, Gran, you know, the last time I was in Weatherspoons in Hexham there, I went straight to the bar and I saw this proper fat lass dancing on the table. And my Gran just sitting there with, like, her eyes wide open, said, Gran, she was humongous, absolutely humongous, and she's dancing on this table. So went to the bar, grabbed a couple of drinks, walked straight over, looked up and down, and I just went, yeah, they're nice legs. And she just like giggled and looked at us and went, oh, do you really think so? I said, aye, most tables would have collapsed by now. And me Gran, right after, me Gran absolutely buckled. And I'm just thinking, hey, God, you know, you never lose your sense of humour, but it's taken me far too long to get that one in. Do
you know what? I must tell you that I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but this was maybe a year ago or so. My mum's dad, my granddad, had a stroke, and he was quite ill for a long. He was in hospital for like over a year.
How's he doing now? He's good.
He's okay. Yeah. But he's got a watcher in the house, so because we need to keep an eye on him all the time, and he's got carers going all the time. So
so like a CCTV.
It's kind of it's interactive, so he can speak and we can speak to him and stuff, and we could just make sure that he's taking his medication and all that type of stuff. And I once tuned into it, and he was listening to the podcast.
Oh, never.
Things, and so I was watching him, and there was a joke. And he like the punchline came and he creased up laughing, but like I was watching him listening to the podcast type of thing.
Which podcast? It wouldn't have been ours. We're not very funny, son. So. And
he was like creased laughing, and it was so nice to, you know, see. He wasn't doing it just because I was there type of thing, because he didn't know I was watching. But it was so it was. I bet
so that was nice. Piggy's joke.
It probably was.
Speaking of Piggy, huge shout out to that man. The drive is looking on point, my man.
Yeah, so we've had Piggy up the last 2 weekends doing it's my mum and dad's drive, and he's done a hell of a job, hasn't he?
It looks hellish, man. It looks absolutely hellish. We'll have to get him to work. I tell you what, I couldn't help but laugh, mine. So tipped up tonight, come around the corner, and your sister's like head of editing, who grafts her arse off on this podcast. So I'm going to look down the list. Thank you very much, Grace, for all your hard work again, but I couldn't help but laugh, man. She looked like she was selling burgers to pay for the drive off the front.
Yeah, getting the barbecue ready.
It's like 9 o'clock at night, and she's like degreasing the bloody barbecue, man. You're a family of grafters.
She was actually labouring for Piggy, never stopped all day.
Sure, man.
So she's
a grafter.
Job. She was out. She sanded it, dry sanded all this morning. But speaking of Grace, I've got a bit of obviously by the time this podcast goes out, it'll be history, but tomorrow we're going over to Rower go-kart track, and I was down at Teesside the other day on the mini bike, and Grace came just for a run out, and she sort of showed a bit of interest in having a go herself, which took us by surprise. And so I thought to myself, well, I've got old leathers, I've got my helmet, I've got gloves. She hasn't got any boots, so we didn't. I thought, let's not. I didn't want to go out with her trainers on or anything, because if she,
she's my sister, and I'm going to look after her.
But I thought we'll sort some boots out, and then next time I go, we'll take her. And I've booked a day at Rower tomorrow, so I'm going to take her over and teach her how to ride, which I'm really looking forward to. But
I tell you what, she's a devil in a go-kart.
Yeah, she is. So she's aggressive.
She's aggressive. Aggressive's putting it lightly, man. She's just a total hi, I'm Grace. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Handing out steaks and portions. Do you know, there's a bit of a T-bone for you.
She used to go to the place in Newcastle after school, and I used to give her my GoPro, and I used to tell her what to do and where to get them, and then she would come back and be like, "Oh, I got this lad mint," and then she would put it on, and she's just like T-bone, massive baldy blokes on stag do's and that, and Grace is just absolutely nailing them all. She was only 13 at the time, but so anyway. She went on Facebook Marketplace to look for some boots, and she found these like nice Alpine Star boots just down the road from where we live. So I took her down, and on the way down there,
what size foot is she?
6.
Damn it!
And
I'll just buy them off her.
So on the way down there, I said to her, I wanted to sort of teach her how to bargain and like chip someone. So I said, look, Grace, the boots were up for 50 quid. And I said, when we get there, if you try and chip them, so like maybe like offer him 40 or 45, then I'll pay for the boots. Even if he says no and the 50 quid, as long as you try and chip them, as long as you ask him for a discount, then I'll pay for them. And she was like, yeah, no bother type of thing. Then we got within a few miles and you could tell she was like rehearsing what she was going to say. She was getting a bit nervous.
Like Del Boy.
Yeah, and she was going, oh, I don't think I can. And I was going, Grace, just say to him, like, try them on and just say, would you take 40? And if he says no and like looks offended, just like sort of laugh and just go, hey, like Shy Ben's getting out, and just give him the 50 anyway and I'll pay it. And I was saying, like, because I pay Grace to do some work for us, and I day rate, like I pay her like about 50 quid a day to do it. So she's, I said, look, you're going to get like a full day's wages for just asking. You know, it'll literally take you a minute or like 10 seconds or whatever. So she said, right, I'll definitely do it. So
I'm in it for the money, I'm a rouse.
Yeah. So we got to this guy's house. And she said, would you mind just coming and stand next to us, like, while I tried them on? I said, yeah, no problem. So we got out, the bloke came, got these boots. She put them on. They look, you know, real nice, like pretty much brand new. And she started struggling with the zip. She went, oh, Chrissy, can you help us with the zip? And I thought, hey, that's clever, innit? Like, pretend there's a problem. Like, pretend the zip's a bit stiff. So I went over and helped her with this zip. And I thought, that's genius. And then the bloke said, so what they're like? And she was like looking down, and I'm like looking, and I'm thinking, what you going to say?
Here we go, here comes the plan.
And she looks up and she says, perfect, there's 50 quid. Totally bottled it. Just give him the 50 quid, didn't even ask. And we got back in the van and we both just collapsed laughing. And I just said, that's cost you 50 quid. And she's just, but I'll teach her one day. Yeah, it's mega.
Just straight up, to be honest, mate, I'm like that, you know.
What, awkward chipping?
No, I'm just a bit of a shite bag. It's just because, like, I don't know, it's like if someone's wanting the money for it, I'm a total nightmare for, like, bartering and stuff like that. It's like if I go to work and people try... Sexy Phil, right, he's a lad I used to, like, I do a lot of work with still, and he was one of the first people I probably looked at in the tree industry.
Is that is Sexy Phil? Is there another Phil? How did he get his name?
No, he's sexy. No, he's sexy. He's built like a bear, and he
good looking bloke.
He's attended a few French orgies. I'm telling you, the boy's an animal. So, anyway, Sexy Phil. I've totally lost me. I'm back on orgies in my brain here now. So I've totally lost me train of thought here. French orgies. I'm trying to change the note here.
You're talking about bartering and chipping.
The bartering. Oh, Jesus.
You were saying you don't like chipping yourself.
Aye, so anyway, like we're talking about like work all the time, and he always refers back to the fish and chip shop rule. So when you go and bartering with people, so it's like I go and price a tree job or anything like that, or give like another company my subcontracting rate and go, right, there you go. And then they always try and haggle you on the price, and it's like, well, no, my time and my labour and my equipment is this much money. So he always goes, what about the fish and chip shop rule? And these people always look at him a little bit dodgy. And I remember overhearing this conversation one day. And he goes, you wouldn't walk into a chip shop, would you? And go, I would like fish and chips, please. And the bloke would go, right, well, that's £4.20. You wouldn't go, I'll give you £1.50, would you? And then the fish and chip shop man again, well, you're not eating tonight, sunshine, are you? Straight away. So I've always been a bit of a gobshite when it comes to bartering. If someone wants the money, I'm just a bit like, well, obviously that's the value. I am a bit of a soft shite like that. I really am.
It's one thing.
Everyone will try and sell me everything now. Listen to this podcast. Go, Dominic, that's full price.
We don't really do it in this country, but if you go, like when you go on a holiday and stuff, in other countries, it's the norm.
Aye.
Where it is a bit awkward over here, but there's a guy called Tim Ferriss. Do you know? Are you familiar with Tim Ferriss?
Tim Ferriss.
Do you know him or not? He does a podcast and stuff. Anyway, he's got a thing.
Don't even listen to this one, mate.
What's that?
I don't even listen to this podcast.
Well, I heard this years ago, and I've never tried it, but I've always thought it's like a good idea. Do you know how people don't like to be uncomfortable and ask uncomfortable situations?
Aye.
But it's a really good skill. It's good to practice it, because if you get comfortable with being in awkward situations, then you don't feel like you have to
break out with them.
Be like pushed into the. You've got your own opinions and you stand by them, and it's hard, but it's it's a good skill to have.
Yeah.
He's got a thing where you have to ask for a 10% nice guy discount. So, like, for example, you go for a coffee and you say, is there a 10% nice... You just try and get 10% off the bill. Do you do 10%?
For a coffee?
Yeah, just for something basic like a coffee.
Have you ever tried... No,
I've never tried it.
Have you ever tried getting 10% off a coffee?
I've never asked for...
Mate, that is a challenge. I'll pay for that coffee. Like what you did with Grace.
We should do it. We should video it.
If you get 10% off a coffee, I would love to stand behind you in that queue. Go, any transfer?
Yeah, because it would be an awkward conversation. But
Chrissy Rouse, 10%.
But you're not going to lose anything, are you? But it's just good, sort of getting out your comfort zone and trying it. So we'll have to see. Anyway,
I'd want the world to swallow us up after that.
I know. We're going to have to motor on. Colchester Kawasaki went down a few weeks ago, obviously sponsor the podcast, and went down to do a little bit of like road testing and some video work, social media work. We had a right good time. Obviously, it's a long way to go in a day for us, mind, isn't it?
I was working, and then I would just pick you up, drove down, and then we just turned it round.
What was it, like 2:30 start or something?
2:30 in the morning, left here. Absolutely flew down there, and then we got there early, nice and early, nice professional, and then they just whipped out a couple of like absolutely howlingly quick. Well, sorry, one howlingly quick bike and then one howlingly impressive bike, the KTM Super Duke R, which is like a sofa that you could go do Dakar. Like if you're going to ride back down to Colchester, I'd rather do it on that bike. But that H2 SE was just, it was mind blowing, and the fact that you can go buy that motorcycle is unreal. And like, you and me just whipped this bike out, and like every button, it was like a Game Boy, man. You could just hit everything, like launch control. It was just, what impressed me is coming out stone cold tires, going out on the road, following the camera crews and stuff like that. We put it in full retard mode, as I call it, which is full rain, full everything. This thing is 197 brake horsepower, right? Derived from 314 supercharged, and the thing just sounds like a Subaru Impreza. You know that super cool charred whatever bollocks they said.
Hissing
it's like, it sounds like that. I'm like, Jesus. But that's literally the cut, like the supercharger dragging it through the engine, and the thing sounds savage. But I came out this corner, absolutely 100% buried the throttle, thinking I'm going to tyre smoke past everyone here. Nothing. Anti-wheelie was absolutely perfect. You could ride that in the rain. Now, when you think you're trying to sell a bike that's essentially a drag bike, it was, you could give it to everyone. Like, put it this way, that bike was so responsive with the Skyhook technology and everything. You could put your sister on that bike tomorrow. It's the first time ever on a motorcycle. It felt that safe. And
in
go
rain
touring
mode.
In rain mode. But the thing is, we found this little back straight road, didn't we? Clear. There was no one coming. It was perfectly safe. It was just like all you lads are just going, right, let's open it up. And my fuck, just right, sport this, and this, and it is absolutely. Oh, if I had the money, and I wanted to go buy a touring bike, because that's what it's designed for, I would go buy that Kawasaki H2. Seriously,
do you know what? Because that's one of the biggest growing markets, like that sort of adventure tour and adventure market.
Well, that's what funny, the Teapot One kind of thing, yeah. So.
And you've got it's such a competitive market, because you've got the obviously like the GS market.
Yes.
There's the Honda Do One. Each manufacturer, which is great for the consumer, because all of the manufacturers are like putting everything they can into it. So for like you're looking at between sort of 15 to 25 in that sort of 1,000 in that bracket of bikes. And I mean, yeah, like you said, that the ZH2 SE is it comes from the H2 engine, which is like nearly 300 horsepower. Is it? Yeah. Jesus. And so it's basically like a detuned naked version of that, but it's, what top speed?
Obviously kept it within the speed limit, but no, like, I'm trying to think. The top
Theoretically,
speed
if you were to open it up, what would you
God,
have?
well over 200 mile an hour. Honestly, the thing is, we were absolutely hossing. I didn't
It's
even get...
185, I think, is the top speed, but on roads.
But that's a D-tune with the standard exhaust on it. So like everything, you can buy a standard bike, take off all the legal bullshit. That's the truth of it, you know what I mean? Decat, that noise, anything that resembles restricting fun, you can remove that, and that thing will do 200 mile an hour. There'll be no doubt in my mind.
So we're really looking for, by the time this podcast's out there, edits might have already been published, but
and the bike's probably been taken off the market for being that fast.
Yeah.
So you missed your opportunity.
It was kind of like a review style bike, a review style video, and we're sort of talking through the specs of the bike, and obviously you test riding it and everything.
And by that point, because we're speaking in the future, we actually haven't heard if we've done a good job or not. So we'll find out together if we're getting sacked.
And also there was the KTM Adventure S, which it was more like if you were going off road type of thing, and I had a good bash on that.
But it's one of those, like, at first you hop on it and think, I need a step ladder to get on that thing. And it to be honest, you think, what a numb, big look. Like me, I'm totally unbiased with any bike I hop on. I just think it's a motorcycle. Let's go have a look at it and see how I feel. And initially looking at it, I went, why would I want one of those? It just doesn't scream. It's not my scene, that Dakar up, sitting right. But I tell you what, once you got on, the bike was that well balanced, because what they've done is they've lowered the fuel tanks either side, like essential saddlebags or big old tits, just get them right nice and low there, right by the angles, just to get that balance right, Chrissy. And so that made the bike really handle so well. And because the bike was so long, you're thinking, is it actually going to turn? It does turn. It soaks up the bumps, that comfy bar position. It was absolutely brilliant. And to be fair, you could just keep going for the miles. And the KTM package, the keep taking money package there, you can just do everything. There's like 8 seats you could go buy for it. Like the actual onboard screen was bigger than that iPad, mate. It was like that. It could do absolutely everything.
The technology is literally ridiculous. It's so easy to use as well. There's just like an up, down, left, and right, and you can go through. You can set all your suspension from. It's like having an iPad on the bike, and then you can check your tire pressures. It was trick.
And the thing is, it's still the Super Duke, right? And you're thinking, well, have they just totally taken away that hooligan image that the KTM Super Duke is? They've totally kept that. So the amount of modes that you can go through, you can go from like off-road, on-road, sport, mental, crazy. You can turn the full thing off and just 1200 cc's of just pure anger. And it really is a fantastic bike. But if I was going to go from here to Colchester, I'd definitely be on that bike 100%. I really would.
But it was good. Like I say, it was
a mint day out.
It was a good experience, and
I'll never get on again.
I found it quite difficult, actually. Sort of, things like this when we're speaking to each other. But it's totally different being stood in front of a camera, like going through. And obviously, we didn't have a great deal of time to sort of prepare, so it was kind of had everything written out, and then to try and deliver it in a, it was totally like a new thing.
No, I totally agree with you. It was totally...
For me, anyway.
Well, no, I totally agree with you. It was a job.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, this is a couple of Geordie gobshites dribbling on about motorcycles, and you think that was just totally different. And I have never done a job interview. You know what I mean? I've always gone like, all right, there's pick up a chainsaw and off you go. And my respect for people that do interviews, period, and have to stand in front of peers and stuff like that. It was very difficult. It was very, very difficult.
Speaking of job interviews, my old boss is in the final of MasterChef this week. Tom,
shut up, man.
Shout out to Tom on my old boss from Nando's. So he always used to come in.
This is the problem. We're in the future here, so we don't know this is mint.
Hopefully he would have won it. But he's. I don't watch MasterChef, but on Facebook and stuff, I'm aware that he's in the final. And he always used to come in to work with like really, really nice like cakes and stuff for the staff.
Were they any good? Be honest. Were they good?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, unbelievably good. But it was dead. You could tell he put his life, his heart and soul into it. And he always used to say his dream one day was to have his own cafe. And he was like, it was funny though, because he was working at Nando's as like a sort of manager, but he had like a degree in chemistry or something from Manchester, and And I always thought, like, if you won the lottery, I would have loved to have just like set him up with a cafe.
There's a calf.
Hopefully,
I'm taking 70%.
yeah. Hopefully this will be well on his way, and he'll have a successful career. So yeah, all the best to Tom. Back to bike racing. Obviously since we've recorded this podcast, we've actually had 2 MotoGP races.
I was about to say because we've done like the first one. We were watching the Moto3 at Jenny's garage, weren't we?
The first round of the season. Yeah.
My God, that was some like the Moto3. It has never ever failed, but even it just seems to be getting stronger again. How many? You're talking the guy at the back. Hold on, which race am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the second race. Yeah. That was phenomenal. Anyway, talk about the first race. We were down at Jenny's.
Brilliant race, and like lead changing all the time. One massive pack. Obviously, John McPhee was really unlucky on both races. He got taken out on both, and after the second one,
didn't he kick him?
He punched him, I think, and he's been given
second race.
Yeah, second one. He's been given €1,000 fine, and he's got to start last in a 10-second penalty for Portmail. So basically, out of Portmail.
He just kicked him like an angry little Scotsman.
John's last year in Moto3 for his age, I believe, and he's got everything lined up, one of the, if not the best bike, one of the best bikes, best teams and all that type of stuff. And it's just not, he's so unlucky. It's just not happening.
No, when you watch that footage, it wasn't the lad's fault.
The kid in front?
Aye. But there you got to collect it. It wasn't like he just ran him off. You know what I mean? It's like fair enough hitting him or kicking him. Like, right, hold on.
It was that the
spokesman of motorcycles.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be condoning, violence and kicking and all that crap. But yes, if you are pissed off. But from that angle, right, it was just racing incident, son. Shit happens, and John would have known that he got collected from another rider, and then it forced him out, and you think, oh, for God's sake,
yeah,
John,
it was definitely
pick your dummy up.
It was definitely the other person's fault, but like you said, mistakes may happen in racing, and it's one of those things. But it's just obviously that frustration, being across the world for like weeks and weeks and weeks testing. Imagine all the money and effort that goes into that to get taken out, but come away with 0 points. Nah, it's not in my nature.
Imagine Chrissy Rouse braying someone.
No, it's
on
not,
the track side.
I don't think so.
That'd be mint.
What
ice hockey player.
You know what I'm like on track. Nice and reserved, calm.
Nice and ruthless. You mean the 1,000-yard lunge?
That doesn't sound like me,
Chrissy. That's 100% you. That's what, mate. I thought you were like a bit of a shite bag, but I came watching you race.
I think I'm well known for being very respectful.
I'm going to slide in like your DMs, pet. Some of that. That's 100% you. I love it. Don't you dare change.
No.
All your competitors will be listening to this gun.
Definitely. They know I'm very.
They know it's coming.
But yeah, MotoGP the rest of the time. Sam Lowes did the double max points after 2 races. Absolutely smashing it, doing brilliant. Jake Dixon, after such a serious injury at the end of last year.
Wrist injury, wasn't it?
Not sure if he would even race again. Came back and he definitely surprised in the first round. I think he was about 6th or 7th. And the second race, he dropped back to about 14th and he crashed out. So I think he'll be disappointed with the start. But considering how bad his wrist was, just to be racing, I think he's
done a hell of a job, yeah.
And obviously in MotoGP, it's been crazy. We've had, first of all, the starts from the Ducatis and also from Oliveira in the second race on the KTM. That first start of the season, it was just all the Ducatis just went boof and got the jump on everyone. I don't know.
It's that whole shot, isn't it? It's the whole shot device. They're just dragging the bikes out, locking them in, and boom, it's just howling away.
Just unbelievable, the difference, though.
I tell you what, though, it's what's great about MotoGP is Cal Crutchlow's earned his money, with them Yamahas. Hasn't he? Like the fact that it is so bloody visible that the fact them Ducatis are so fast in a straight line. It is absolutely phenomenal. To the point of, I feel so sorry for the current world champion, John Muir. He worked it. Is it Muir? Have I said that wrong?
Did you say John?
John, why did I say John?
I don't know.
What's his name?
I like it though, John.
John.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wild John from down the road. Just getting his gyro there. So John there, he got absolutely mugged. To be fair, right, you're thinking, this is the current world champion. First round, you're thinking, oh, come on. You know what I mean? Yeah, the thing is, we've had the echoing of MotoGP from Rossi and Marquez, the fact that current world champion, they're at the front, they're the ones to beat. Like John there, it was a bit like, oh, for God's sake, come on, pull your finger out. Half the race went, them Suzuki's strength to strength to strength, and he worked his way up to third, and he got absolutely... oh my God, he got raped. There's no other word for it.
To be fair, he did make a mistake going into the last corner, but even so, he just got smashed.
It was he pulled it aside, man, like a gentleman. Just went, right, here we go, and
gutted
for him. It was the second he was.
He was in
second.
He was in a third, and then he went back to
fifth.
Yeah, I think so.
He got mugged.
2 Ducatis.
And Vinales won that race, didn't he, in the Yamaha?
Smoked them, yeah, and Fabio won the other one. So Yamaha have won both races now, quite convincingly. In the second one, there was massive news as well, where George Martin was on pole, which he's a rookie, just jumped up from Moto 2 on the Pramac Ducati, and he took pole position. And just before the race, he was saying, "Look, I'm like so pleased to get pole, but like I haven't really got any chance of winning the race." And he led nearly the whole thing, and just got beaten on the last lap or the last few laps.
That's a hell of a performance from that step up, isn't it?
Yeah, Zarco was so clever because he followed him the whole race and then passed him with 2 corners to go, and then got second.
Zarco is a one-track specialist sometimes. No, I'm not. Hold on. Your eyes lit up when I said that, but like Qatar, he comes alive. That first couple of rounds, he does come alive. And when he did that on the Tech 3?
I can't remember historically about which tracks he's strong, but he definitely looks comfortable on that Pramac bike. He's leading the championship at the moment.
There we are. So.
He is looking good. And it's weird as well that the 2 Pramac bikes are ahead of the 2 factory ones as well, which is, you wouldn't predict. Jack Miller's been quite disappointing so far, because I was expecting, to be honest, I was thinking him for an outside bet on the championship. After the first 2 rounds, he's been really he's been disappointing. And also, I did think the move Mia did on him, I thought was fantastic. Lifted him up mid-corner, but then his retaliation going on the start-finish straight when he bashed into him, I've got to say, I thought that was really dirty. I didn't like it. I thought he did it on purpose. I think there was a big thing afterwards where him and Mia have fallen out, and I've got to be honest, I do like Jack, but I think he was out of order with that one. And I'm team Mia, John Mia on that.
I can't believe I called him John Mia. That's terrible.
But no, I've got to say it is exciting because it is unpredictable. Rossi was 4th on the grid one week and he was last the next one.
What would be going through your head? I tell you what, this is the thing. When we do these road trips and we end up having the crack, and then you end up thinking we could do this, do that, and it gives us time to get our work done, blah 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 blah. But you end up. Like the Jenny Tinmouth, like really looking forward to this interview, like getting played on here, absolutely brilliant. But it's like you just want to have that crack with the other riders. But like, yes, Rossi qualified 4th, and then second last. Was it second last or dead last?
Second last he was, behind.
What the fuck? What would be going through your mind at that point? Like,
I think he's just he did a little bit better in the race, but even his teammate Morbidelli, he's another one that was coming in as a championship favourite, and he's had a really disappointing first 2 rounds. But it's one of them.
That's racing.
It's really unpredictable, and the massive news. By the time this podcast goes out, it'll actually be after Portimao, so we'll know how he got on. But Marc Marquez is back for round 3, cleared fit.
Right.
And so Marc is back, and that is going to be huge news.
Go on then. What's you thinking? Storm Stacey put a bet on that. He win the champ. Oh, that's 2 rounds in. Is there any? Oh, you'd have to win every.
Nah, see, a lot of the championship favourites are on like sort of 17, 18 points. Zarco's winning on 40 points, and you would fancy Marc to gain 40 points on him over the season. It's definitely doable, but it's just the question of his shoulder. For me, I think his shoulder injury is so bad that he's going to have to ride a little bit more tentatively than what he has done in the past. But whether he does or not is hard to see.
This has got to be good.
If you remember the beginning of last year, he'd smashed his shoulder to bits, and he was riding a week after he'd broken it. So you would think to yourself, well, in that case, he knows if he crashes it could be a career-ending injury, and we've never seen him as loose in his life. So do you think he's going to come back and be like really, ride very conservatively?
The world can't wait.
I don't think it's in his nature. I think he'll go out and I think he'll probably be really competitive
straight off the bat.
But the problem he's got is
anything, though.
The problem with Marc, the problem he's got is he's one crash away from ending his career.
Yeah, aren't we all?
We are, yeah, but he's
he's probably got that mindset about him. Like, let's face it, Chris, we're all in this sport, and people listen to this know of the sport. We know the dangers of it, and he probably rides that right on the coattails of the situation. Again, so look, you know what I mean? You get hit by a car, then go out and win races,
and also the Hondas in general have
doing shite,
doing absolutely nothing. So Honda need him to come back.
But I tell you, that just puts him the $1 million man, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You think. For years, he's put Honda on the front, but no one else has made that work. His own brother, his own gene pool can't make that work. You think, like, what could he do on other bikes as well? You'd look at him as a professional guy. He's the goose that lays the golden egg, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't wait for that.
He is definitely a golden boy for Honda.
Really is.
To be honest, he is of MotoGP as well. Really, he's everyone's going to be watching Portimao to see how he gets on.
And let's talk about the future for a second. Who was the lad in the second Moto3 race who started 10 seconds behind in the second wave of riders in a Moto3 race where if you are not in the front pack, let's face it, everyone will write you off. Even God himself will go, look, son, today is not your day. And explain to the listeners here now, Chrissy, what happened?
Yeah, Pedro Acosta. So he's a rookie in the class.
Like
He's just stepped up from the Spanish CV Championship. He's 16-year-old. He finished second in the first race from like wherever he was on the grid, but he got a penalty, so he was starting from pit lane, and they didn't let them go. That second wave, they didn't let go when
they were round the corner. The second lot were behind. Oh, they were absolutely miles behind. Bearing in mind, like you say, they've started. They've made the first turn. They've gone in the second, hit the brakes, and then they've gone right, lads, go on and go enjoy your race.
Do you know what's funny? Just before the race started, one of my mates, he was out on his bike and he just stopped off outside for a quick chat. And my mate Dickie, and he said, I've been watching this kid in Spanish CV last year. He's literally unreal. You need to watch out for him. He's called Pedro Acosta, number 37 on the KTM. He's the real deal. He won the Spanish. He was telling us all of his stats and that, and he was like, please, like, make sure you watch out for him. He's mega, right? So I got in, sat and watched the race, and I thought, oh, there's that kid starting from pit lane. And obviously they watched him pick his way through the pack and take the win from pit lane, which was just literally outstanding. And straight on the phone to Dickie, like, this kid, to be honest, Dom, since Marquez has came through,
that's what I mean.
There's been you're sort of seeing top riders that are winning, but not that convincing.
But look what happened last year. You took Marquez out the picture, and it was an open championship that made it potentially the best racing in the calendar. But
Pedro Acosta's the first rider that I've seen since Marquez has come through where you think, wow, he's like head and shoulders above everyone else.
I tell you what, we've talked about, mate, it's nearly 100 episodes and we've talked about it again. I would love to know what makes that happen.
That's the sort of thing. Do you know, if you're in football, if you showed them that much promise at 16, someone like Barcelona come and they put you on like they start paying you massive money into not what that you can spend, but like into sort of savings account, and basically get on board with your parents and stuff and get you signed up then and start giving you massive benefits. Then that surely, like, one of the big MotoGP teams have got to be like ringing them up, say, like, getting them signed up for the next few years, because, you know, to make, like you say, Moto3 is so competitive because all the bikes are pretty much the same. You know, there's like one group that are fighting for the lead from like first to 20th or whatever.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
There's nothing separating anyone, and he's visibly so much better than everybody else. Or to be fair, it was that race. You know, it's difficult. We'll watch the next race. He'll be at bang average, but he's so good. He just looks so fluent on the bike. He's class.
I'll tell you what. You know, when you're talking about the football things, we're never going to get this interview put in, but like, you just meet people who were like, at 16, the whole world's theirs, you've got this and got that. You know, the mad thing is, he could hit 18, just like, and discover drinking, drugs and women, couldn't he? Just can't screw it off. It's unreal, isn't it? Trying to keep that focus and drive into someone.
I was thinking 16, about that. That's mental, isn't it? Thinking about that the other day, actually, and it's so difficult to pick out, you know, people from a young age. There was some of the most class riders from when I was coming through are not in the sport anymore, and those are the kids that do you know who Wayne Ryan is? Wayne Ryan jumped on a super team bike when he was like 12, and he was just dynamite, just beating everybody and whatever, and he got some great opportunities, but he didn't make it. And there's people along those lines, and then there's people that, you know, like if you were watching Super Teens back then, you definitely wouldn't have looked at me and thought he's anything special. Like I was like,
we still don't,
bang average. But you know, a lot of people there's people that peak at different times.
I totally agree. Like your quote about riding the wave, isn't it? And
yeah,
that river was there.
The first race I ever went to watch, the Metrokit race, when I was going to get into the racing, there was a lad. So Kyle Ryde and Bradley Ray were in that race, and those two were probably they were the two best riders. There was a kid in that race called Harry Coomber, and I remember seeing him just thinking he was a bit younger, and he's dynamite. And when he got onto the bigger bikes, it just never worked for him, and he just dropped. It's mad.
Life is a peculiar thing. It's unreal, but like the thing is, bloody hell, Chrissy, you know, we work so hard, and everyone in the game right now, you have to work so hard to be in it at all. But imagine having them opportunities, and it boils my piss. I remember, like I was saying, I was at this wedding, and this bloke had a genuine chance to like play for the Mackhams. He had a huge opportunity to become a professional footballer, and he sat opposite us and went, I didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't be asked. The training was long hours, and I had to, you know, eat correctly, and and I'm going, like, oh, what do you do? He goes, I just work at the council. Don't get me wrong, not from work, like, you know, earning your money for a living, doesn't matter what job you got. But imagine,
I'd rather do that and play for some.
A couple of Geordie lads, but you know what I mean, though. It's like you're just sitting there, and I'm sitting opposite him after finishing a shift, and I just want to race bike. That is the only thing. I just want to race motorcycles.
So it begs the question of
it's
that thing
that
about
drive.
like the perseverance of just keep going, and it like it would be really interesting if someone did a proper study on like what it takes to get through, and because obviously it's like people want to know with their kids going through and whatever.
It's phenomenal, but you just think, like, you know, this, like, you know, parents have chucked money at this lad for football and done this and that and that, and he had a genuine chance to be a life-changing opportunity, and he just turned around, it's not for me, just for this bone idle, arrogant attitude. And I'm going, imagine, you know, there's so many people deserving of these opportunities. Like, we could sit here and rant all night, but it's mental. It's a game changer, that sort of thing.
Should we predict where Marquez is going to finish?
I want to win. I want to win.
I quite fancy him for pole position, but I'm not sure about the race win. He could easily do. Do you know what? He could win it, and he could be right near the back with his shoulder. It's impossible to know. And I've got no inside. I've got no inside information on like how he's like been testing or anything. But I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be coming back if he wasn't capable of like holding a strong account of himself.
Do you have a bet? Cheap bet?
What, 50? Our usual 50 pence.
I'll use it. I tell you what, speaking of which, if Billy Bolt's listening to this, you little shite bag, you still need to organise that speedway, because there's £100 bet on this.
Yeah, we'll get that
to the point, he's actually started his own podcast, hasn't he?
Two
pro, one slow. What a great name for a podcast.
Yeah, I've been enjoying
Obviously, I haven't listened to it, but I can assume it's actually good. Have you listened to it?
I actually met Billy's dad yesterday at Enduro, and you can tell the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. Very like in terms of
a proper mint lad, you mean?
Yeah. And
that is class.
His little sister was out enduring when I was as well. She's only 8 years old.
What's she like on about 8-year-old?
Yeah, mega. Getting proper stuck in. Always out and just dead keen. And
the bolts are taking over. But I tell you what, Chrissy, I think we should. I think we've got thank you, Colchester. I tell you what, seriously, I really enjoyed that day, and I can't thank him enough. And Luke, who owns the business, absolutely mint lad. Met Nick Morgan, met everyone, the whole team. It was a hell of a day.
Great.
So we've got them. Teapot One, thank you for the shirts.
Yeah, we've got some big news that we haven't.
Sorry about
yet.
Phil. Go on then.
So
merch, we've done that.
For both of us, before this podcast goes out, we're both making our debut for 2021, both getting out on the big bikes this week.
Oh God,
and
I'm looking at you going, what? What's going on? It feels that long, Chrissy.
So you're making your debut on
DC's 1000, yeah. So down at Alton Park, with no limits. Just ironing out the cracks there. My teammate there, he's already been out and he's done a few track days. And then we're doing Donington Park. Are you attending Donington? Oh my God, fuck you, Chrissy. There you go.
So I was saying,
second place sounds like. Hold on, there'll be loads of you. I was about to say there'll be loads of you. To be fair, won't it? Because you
Loads of
always
BSB, do you mean?
a bunch of you hair gel wankers. There'd be loads of you, won't you?
So,
with your feelings in your short shorts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm getting out on my new bike, the new ZX10.
Your faster bike. Oh, all right.
Get that in. Getting out for a little track day on Thursday, which I cannot wait for. And then
have we mentioned the tyre thing, or is that?
Oh yeah, great suggestion. That so because I had heard on the grapevine that Superstock they've changed the tyres for this year, and we're going to be using a different rear tyre. So I actually called Jason Griffiths from the Isle of Man, who is the Pirelli guy.
Yeah.
And it's the tyre that we used at Silverstone last year. So for everyone that's listening who does Superstock, we're going to be using the Silverstone tyre all year. The tyre it's 14. It's got a 14 mil longer diameter. So it basically lifts the ride height by about 7 mil.
Lower your shocks to compensate.
Yeah, a little bit. And
what did you make of the tyre?
Yeah, it was
different, or was it?
It's the same compound. So grip wise, it's much more similar to the Superbike profile because we used to run 55s and it's now 60. So it's quite a small change, but we're running those this year. But I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And I've just entered the endurance race on. Are you doing the endurance?
Yeah. I wish I'm not now.
I'm doing the endurance on Saturday, and then I'm also hoping to get an entry for, which I'm pretty sure I've got, for the sprint races on the Sunday as well. But I'll be starting from back of the grid because I'm not doing qualifying.
Have you actually got a confirmed entry? Because Dean from DC there, they put me named. I'm on the reserve list for that.
Right. So, you're not doing the sprint
So if I take a dump in your fuel tank, I'm on the list. So this is good. So no, but like you say, I'm really looking forward to getting out with the DC.
How good is it after such a long winter to be getting out on the bikes? Though I am literally so buzzing.
Oh God, yeah. You're gonna lap me. I'm really looking forward to
that. And also, quick mention: I'm going to pop down and see our friend Bob at the machine shop on Friday. So I'm going to make my own steel shoe for the flat track. So I'm looking forward to doing that. A little bit of welding.
Oh God.
So, all good.
Hey, very good. I'm trying to think what else, but no, looking forward to getting on the track, DC. But so mint, absolutely mint. I think we should introduce our guest, who was probably going to listen to this. She already would have ran the tyres by now. She's doing Superstock 1000, isn't she?
Yeah, you'll hear all about it. She's just got a. Well, I won't spoil it. You'll hear about it in a second. But and our next podcast, Dom, is the big 100.
Jeez, and we've got hopefully some big plans coming together for that.
Yeah,
so
we're going to be working to get something in place, and hopefully we'll make it one to remember. But without further ado, over to, I can't remember how long it was.
We're about to say the guest Jenny Tinmouth, mate. That's it.
It was at about an hour and a half or something.
Something like that. Yeah, good cracking.
Down near Liverpool, was it Merseyside?
It's all a blur now, Chrissy. It's all a blur. So we'll have to listen to it and find out.
A lovely person, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So over to Jenny Tinmouth.
See you in a minute.
Click, buy, deliver with remote purchasing from the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
And welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 99.
I was about to say, right on, let's clear the air here. I'm very proud of you now, Chrissy, because we're bollocksed up. I actually didn't turn my microphone on, and then you screamed that, and you've done it again. That is commitment to the course, and it's still shit.
And we're delighted to be joined by the fastest female racer around the Isle of Man TT, Jenny Tinmouth. How are we doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, just to start off with, just before we came in here around your workshop, your lovely, just quickly use the facilities there just before we started. And is there any significance in having a big picture of Stuart above where you do number twos?
I know every time I go into the toilet, I'm like, maybe I should change that poster. It's quite old.
I was just thinking, did Stuart once duff you up or something and you put Anna? Or?
No, it's because I painted it quite a nice orangey sort of colour, and it was ETI Ducati, which was orange. It just sort of goes really nice. But I'm sure
it's the only photo in there. It's there's something a bit.
Every time you go, it's like, hi Stuart.
Because do you know Sean Emmett used to ride for Paul Bird?
Yeah.
And I presume that relationship didn't end too well. And Paul Bird's got Sean Emmett's helmet above where he takes number 2 for that reason.
Oh, right.
So
It's not for that reason.
Okay, but yeah, obviously we're speaking about your workshop here, and that's the day job, isn't it?
Yeah.
For sort of fixing bikes. And have you been busy during the last year lockdown, etc.?
Yeah, but not all things considered, not too bad. We when it was first announced and everybody kind of had to stay at home, we thought, well, we better shut and no one's going to want to come out. But then we thought, well, no, we'll stay open because people might need their bikes for work. We'll stay open and see what happens. And yeah, it went quiet for a little bit, and then I think everybody got bored sitting at home and rummaging in the garages and sheds and dragged out bikes that'd been stood there for maybe 10 years. And then
Have you been working on anything sort of extra special any time recently?
no, to be fair, it's all been like your old CBR 600s or
Have you ever refused a customer? This is not a good way to advertise your business. Sorry, that is the worst question I could ask a businesswoman there. But there must be piles of crap that come through your shed and you got like your workshop there, and you must just go, oh, fuck.
Actually, we had one that I feel really bad actually, but it was so dirty. Like, go away, wash it first, and then come back.
I don't blame you.
It's really hard to work on something when it's absolutely covered in.
Yeah.
So.
And is that something you've done like since leaving school, sort of bike mechanics?
Yeah. So when I left school, I kind of didn't know what to do, but obviously I was very much into my bikes, and went to the library and dragged out a book on how an engine works, basically. And I thought, wow, this is quite interesting actually. And then it evolved from there, and I found there was a college course not far from here. It's about 8 miles away in Birkenhead. There was a 3-year mechanics course, and I thought, well, I'll
straight into that.
Yeah, I'll go and have a go at that because that'd be interesting. And I knew I wanted to race, so I was like, well, this is going to be brilliant because I know how to fix my own bike. I can hopefully get a job off the back of that, so I can pay for my racing and I can go racing. So it was sort of hitting 3 things in one go.
I love that. You've gone from having no idea what to do, and it went flat out from there to like all of 10 minutes by the library going, yeah, bollocks, that's the plan there.
Do you know there's actually a specific course not far from here in Myers Court College. One of our friends, Ryan Garside, runs a course with Richie Harrison, and you can actually, they basically both race in Thundersport, and they take the bikes in, and then if you were in the same position but you were like 16 and you sort of were interested in bikes and sort of bike maintenance preparation but you weren't sure, you can go and you work on their race bikes, and every day it's very hands-on, cool. You're getting the sort of theory but you are hands-on and like working in the race team and understanding everything. So
cool.
For kids of that age, it's like a real cool opportunity, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
mentioned, I keep forgetting this course in Wales, but there's like a full-on crew chief course now in Wales or something like that. And you think,
Yeah.
To take things more, if you go to university to like the next sort of level, I think he's a crew chief in Tech 3, I think, in MotoGP, runs a course at Swansea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of courses all around. One of my friends, Ali Roland Rouse, he did a pretty cool course at Oxford Brookes to do with, he's really into aerodynamics,
Right.
and he ended up like getting a job in Formula One work. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can,
That's quite cool.
like sort of areas, and especially I think aero's like a real talking point at the moment, you know, with we've just been watching a bit of MotoGP there, and
we literally threw the studio together and we just watched the last 3 laps there.
And when you look at like the development of motorbikes, it is the thing, like the new thing really is that these wings.
Are you a fan or not?
Yeah, I like him.
Brilliant, because it's like an open discussion of like me and my dad, like we meet up sometimes and go watch the MotoGP on the telly, and he's like, I hate that, and I'm like, piss off, it looks mint.
Have you ridden a bike with wings yet?
No.
No, really. I'm
no.
looking forward.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the new aero package this year, just because it would be nice to, if there's an opportunity to sort of back to back, just to actually see the. Because you see, I think it's something like 17% or whatever, but what that actually feels like on track, it'll be quite interesting, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
There we go. So, tell you what, we've actually jumped halfway through the whole love affair of motorcycles. So, where did it begin for you then? So, well before you were 16, you were a big fan of bikes. So, how did it all stem? How did it all begin?
I don't know. It must be something like in your DNA or something, I think. Because I remember at school, we had to like the first ever bit of homework I got was to draw something, an object at home.
Yeah.
My favourite little object was this little trike I had. So, obviously, from a young age, I was already tomboy, liking motorbikes, cars. My dad had a bike, so...
I was about to say, there's always a family connection somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
So your dad was into the bikes then.
Yeah, so I think I just went that route. You know, I was quite tomboyish, and I just liked the cars, the bikes. It was all really exciting stuff. So.
Was your dad into the racing side of things, or just sort of bike on the road?
No, just bike on the road and mechanical side, I guess, because he had an old AJS. He's got an AJS and a matchless, I think. So we used to
Seven
go...
on a G50. Well, proper bikes.
Yeah, proper.
So they are. So that's my era.
Proper.
Your e-race.
Proper break your shin when it kicks back on you.
Oh, proper compression jobs. I used to blow my granddad had BSA Gold Stars. He used to build these race bikes.
Yeah.
And I remember I must be 6. I was jumping up and down on this BSA Gold Star kickstart. And there's that much compression a thing. I couldn't physically move the kickstart down. And my granddad came up and clipped me right round the back of the head and went, "That's why little boys don't ride bikes, because they couldn't start them." People used to literally flip themselves off the bikes on these 7R and G50, just boof, like kneecap jobs.
Yeah.
proper bikes. So no,
how old were you when you first actually had to go on a bike?
I think maybe I'm going to say 13, maybe. I got a picture of me sitting on the back of on the front of Dad's bike with Dad on the back, going around the field. Yeah, because we used to go to the AGS and Matches Owners Club rally annually every August bank holiday. So it'd be just a big, old, classic bike get-together, which was ace. Mm-hmm. And they'd always have a field that you could blat around on. So this was the first time having to go.
You must have been pestering the living crap out of them, to be fair. From drawing trikes, you must have been well before you were 13 going, "Can I have a go, can I have a go, can I have a go?" Was that not the case?
No, I kept it very much to myself, I think. My own sort of ambitions, yeah. I mean, I wanted to go, but only kind of in natural time of getting to learn to ride it. And then I was like, when I'm old enough to get my test, I'll get my test. Sort of just natural progression, not pestering, but yeah.
So what was your first bike then? So you've gone from growing up around big British singles. So what was your first bike then?
I had a TS125X Suzuki.
Did you not disown you as a child when you came through the door with a 2-stroke? What the fuck? Get that out of me.
Oh, it was ace. No, because I used to see the motocross bikes I don't want a scooter or something with, I want something with gears that looks like a bike. And it was in between a motocross bike and a road bike. So I was like, that's what I want. And I rode it I remember I was on holiday with my friend in Blackpool. And my parents picked me up to go to the rally. And I remember we had to stop in the car and I threw up at the side of the road because I was so excited because I was going to see my bike and the first time I get to ride it on the field. Yeah,
that's a passionate woman. You can see the story unfolding already by how you became a TT rider. It all just blends in. So that point, straight in, 16, back to college. Went to college and then you've done this course. And then how did you progressively get into the racing side of things then?
So from the course, there's a dealer in Chester that I used to work for called Bill Smith's. So basically I applied to work for free because I kind of thought they're not going to take...
Wow.
They're not going to take a girl on, I kind of thought, which is, at the time, which naively thought. So I basically offered my services for free at weekends if I could work.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a weekend job, and I was still doing the college course. And then gradually the last year of the college course was very much work experience based. So luckily enough, I was already in the job. So I went from part-time at weekends to full-time. And then Bill Smith's very much part of TT. He's got so many replicas and he's a massive TT rider. And a lad who was working in the workshop was racing at the time. So I just said to him, how do you start racing? What do you do? I had absolutely no idea. So he gave me an ACU license form and said, fill this in. And Bob's your uncle, away you go.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you went through that process, you go down and do your license and whatever. And did you go straight into short circuit racing from there?
Yeah, so Anglesey is my closest circuit really from here. It's like an hour and a half away.
I was about to say, it's still a good hour and a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just like one straight road.
Through the tunnels and up you go.
Can you pronounce the name of that really long?
No.
Lucky friggin' fucking.
Go on, go on, Don.
No, I can't. I can't even.
I know that it ends in go, but that's it.
Go have a go.
I've got no idea. I wouldn't even begin.
I'm gonna Google that later on. We'll all have a crack at it for later on. So you went to Anglesey then.
Yeah, because Bill was running track days at Anglesey, so luckily enough for me, I got to go on some free track days, take my bike and.
And this is on your which bike is this?
So
on?
I say when I was still at college, I had another job as well. So I was a glass collector at a working men's club, Shell Club, because my dad used to work for Shell Stanley.
Yeah.
So I'd saved up all my money and bought a VFR 400 because after all the reading performance bike magazines, that's the one you need to get. The VFR 400. So I got that. And I took that on track.
So that's quite a step up from a 125 to a 400 mindset. I bet it, like, where did you first, like, you must have, when did you buy the bike? Was it second hand or brand new?
Second hand.
Second hand. So where did you buy? I remember buying my first second hand bike, and you remember the whole journey. It was going all the way through Sunderland. You met a dodgy bloke. You hand him a load of cash and think, please start. It was one of those situations. So when you first got off the 125 onto the 400, you just thought, I need to go to a track with this. Was that the?
Yeah, it was. Well, I when I passed my test, so it was just at the cusp of having it be restricted. So I had the little inlet restrictions.
Carb.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it was still fast, so I was happy enough.
Compared to a 125, definitely.
Yeah.
I had a DRZ, but on the carb it had an L-shaped bracket externally, not internally, so I could unscrew the restrictor to make it 33 brake. A DRZ 400 is only like 41 brake, but you could literally pull over. The coppers pulled you over. You used to screw the plate back on.
Oh, perfect.
It's restricted, that son, but I don't think they'll let you do that now. But any tips for any DRZ 400 restricted riders? Just unscrew the bolt.
And was it immediate? Like, as soon as you got on track, did you know that sort of scratched the itch that you were after, and that's what you wanted to sort of pursue in your next few years?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I was so naive to it, I had absolutely no idea. I didn't know how to do it in the first place, and I had no idea how I was ever going to do it. I never thought about it properly, but I felt like I shouldn't have been doing it. It gave me a huge determination to do it. Just because I didn't come from a racing background, I didn't particularly have any money, and I didn't have any clue how to start in the first place. So I was like, I really want to do this.
Yeah, you like a challenge.
Yeah, and I thought nobody's even going to look at me, so I can kind of crack on my own, and no one's going to care. So, yeah, I kind of like that.
And at this point, I know now there's there's the all-female race, for example, at No Limit, and I think with social media and stuff, it's very easy to find like-minded people. But back then, there definitely wasn't as many females in the sport. When you first started doing track days, was there any other females that you were aware of that you were sort of seen as role models, or that you?
I'm gonna say no, because there wasn't really. I was a really. It's funny, the thing in it with the female and the male thing, but I think we're all just kind of like humans. And
yeah.
That goes without saying, yeah.
And then I really admired, because I love BSB, and I admired all the guys and all the guys I was racing with, and I kind of consider myself just one of them, just another person there, kind of thing. So, yeah, I never really was
thought of it as a roadblock.
I never even thought of that side of it. I was too busy watching like Hodgson and Chris Walker have their battles and going, "Wow, that's amazing!" Yeah,
I want a bit of that.
Yeah,
oh, brilliant.
So, we like to put like a time era on these things. So, what age were you at the track day then? Your first track day on this 400?
20 or 21 maybe.
21.
So that's old in racing terms. To start racing.
It is that, I couldn't agree more. But so I'm trying to think. You've been watching BSB all this. How fast were you going in your mind? How many people were you passing straight off the bike?
Did you get your knee down straight away?
I don't think straight away. I remember getting my boot down and wearing a hole through my boot. Originally thinking, wow, this is awesome, I'll get my boot down. And the next minute I went right the way through the boot and thought,
200 quid
no.
Yeah. So you must have been just howling round, and it's just like an immediate reaction to going, I'm sick of this. Screw the credit cards, I'm going to spend every penny I've got.
It's funny it's funny if you went back and look and watched yourself, you'd be like, wow, I was really slow. But in your mind, you're like, I'm trying so hard, and because you're just in a zone, aren't you? And you're like, I'm trying really hard, and when you're learning, obviously. So
it's also quite unique, especially from doing this podcast and speaking to people. Most people that get into racing, it's very much like the parents used to race, or the parents race, or there's like somebody in the family, or there's very often like a link. So to get into the sport at that age without your parents sort of leading the way or showing you or whatever, it is quite unique in that way, isn't it? And it's when you think of all the people that we interview, it's nearly always like, oh, my dad was really into bikes, or somebody at school, or there's like a road in. Obviously for you, it was, did you say Bill Smith?
Yeah, it wasn't him. I only knew him because of the TT, and I just thought that's a way to ask how you start. But he wasn't really.
Ask a grown up. Excuse me, how do I do this?
Yeah, but like for watching, it was all the BSB riders. So
that's so 20. Were you're the first woman to qualify and compete in 125 GP race. Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
You think so? You tell me. We're interviewing you. We're asking the questions here. So, no, so you're the first person to do that. So how, like, you've gone from a DRZ, that's my bike. Sorry, a 400. So what was your first race bike? Was it that 400 then?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I realised it was seriously uncompetitive.
Really?
Why is that then?
Because all of them cheated and they had 500s mainly.
Really?
I love that. Go on, name drop. I dare you to name drop. Every
No, I mean-
go on, I dare you.
No, I mean, the 400s, they were, if you knew what you're doing, you know, they were tuned and bought out. And
Talk us through the thought process of entering your first race. Where was it, and how did you get on? Expectations, that type of thing.
Expectation always very, very high. actual result, not quite so much, but because I just had so much determination. I was like, right, I'm going to learn. I want to do well. I'm like well up for this. But I just tried my hardest, you know. But this is like, my bike was slow, but my bike was actually really slow.
You can never take the racer out of someone, can you? It's like that, right, they're cheating. The bike was slow. It was like that. The wind was coming in the wrong direction. Every excuse in the book.
Was it a club race at Anglesey? Is that where you started?
Was that the Wirral then?
Yeah.
The Wirral 100 Club?
Yeah.
There we are, you see.
But like starting, I was so naive. I literally thought all you need is a motorbike. I had my road fairings on it. I literally took the lights and number plate off, the horn, everything that's on it. I thought all you need is a motorbike, the tyres that are on it, and away you go. I didn't realise, I didn't have any concept of having to change gearing, needing race rubber or a race fair or anything. So it was a bit of an eye-opener to go and race, and then realise actually you need to apply a bit more money to this.
No, but where did you finish in your first race?
Probably not. I didn't disgrace myself. Probably
That's on like road going time.
yeah, probably 2/3 from the back. I remember because I had the BT 020.
Did you say 2/3 from the back?
Probably 2/3 down, but not like last.
That's
but not,
mint. Considering there'd be people there with tyre warmers doing it.
Yeah,
for
I didn't
years.
have tyre warmers.
That's
And
mint.
I remember because when I sold the bike, because I had the road tyres on it, and I don't know how many track days and races on it, and then they failed me in scrutineering for the tyres because they were bald on the right hand side, and I begged to get through because I didn't have another set of tyres, and they let me through, and then I promptly crashed.
Oh, no way.
The scrutineers nudging each other, going,
Yeah,
"That's why we're so strict now, thanks to you."
Have you been to Anglesey?
It's a mint track. It is
You
an
raced
absolute, like, I tell you what, it's the only place in the world. Like, sorry, I have to take that back. It's the only place in Britain where, on a nice hot sunny day, you would think you were in like the Caribbean or something like that.
It's awesome track,
It
isn't it?
is.
Like the picturesque side of it, and like now the only thing I don't like about Anglesey is I went and did the Wirral meeting, Wirral 100 Club meeting, and they split the tracks over 2 days. So you had the international, and then you had the national. The national one, I think, it's got like that corkscrew down the hill. They want to off that other track. It just goes straight down, turn around, come back. It's crap. You know, they're coming down that corkscrew. It's absolutely like there's nothing like, there isn't anything like that else in the country. It's like that. What's that circuit in America? You know, it's
Laguna
Seca.
you know when Rossi just cut the corner and he did it at Laguna Seca.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I've never been there, but I can imagine that being as close as replicant.
It is.
To that.
It is a real cool, like iconic corner, isn't it? And,
Yeah.
do you know what? I haven't raced there since 2010, and I've never been on anything other than a 125. But I've always wanted to do. It's like turn 3. I don't know what it's called. It's that real fast right hand on the back straight. Is that church?
Church.
I would love to do that on 1,000 and just light the rear up and oh god,
There's
it
been
was
a
so good.
fair few people getting banged up there. Like,
I
best.
can imagine.
Why don't BSB go there?
Infrastructure, I think mainly the road getting to the track is about 2 mile of single lane. So if the lorries, it would just be impossible for that to work. Also, there's very little crowd. Like
Capability.
like for example, Knock Hill, you can draw a crowd from Edinburgh, Glasgow, the whole of Scotland, Newcastle. If you go right to the end of Wales at Anglesey, even to get from like Cardiff, you have to go up into the on the M6, up the M6 and then back across. So I mean,
If you were going to design a track for racing, though, surely that I honestly believe, sitting here right now just thinking about it, that would be some of the best racing going. You know, that's what I mean. You know, when you're coming down the bottom and then it climbs up and it's that sharp left, but it's like over a brow.
Yeah.
You're thinking, imagine.
There'd be some chaos there,
It
wouldn't
would be
there?
absolute chaos, and then
it's like Wales' best kept secret, really.
it is
Anglesey,
actually.
isn't it?
It is actually.
I've always thought it'd be a nice place just to go on holiday as well. It's like such a
Oh
cool
my
little
god!
area.
You can tell we've been in COVID a while now. I'd love to go to Wales for a holiday. A man can dream.
But so you did a little bit of club racing. I take it you ended up taking that 400 back and working your magic to get a few more
Get into a
horsepower.
500,
No.
just board it out.
Or did
Like
you
the
just-
kiss of the cheaters.
I didn't have
No.
I didn't have the money, so I basically I painted it in my back garden and sold it. Went over the damage, filled it in.
And that'll be in someone's garage now, pulled
Yeah,
out
but-
because of COVID. Like that going,
I hope so,
What a
actually. I'd
bodge
like
job.
it. Yeah. Who did this? Yeah. But yeah, it was a good bike, actually. I would quite like it. But for like those 400s, they're fetching good money now, VFR 400s.
Are there?
Yeah. So it's a good
Do they
little
still
bike.
do they still race them in a modern class, or is it?
there's no 400 class anymore.
Is there not?
They used to combine it with a super, like a couple of years ago, they were combining it with the Super Twins, and the 400 class just dropped off. But back then, it was an absolute howler of a class, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was like Motors TV used to put it on all the time and everything like that. So
Would you like a drink?
I would.
I would. Straight up.
Have you had a rich engine?
No, I've never tried one.
It's sponsoring quite a few race teams and stuff at the moment on this, so it's try it. You can
Gas testing?
see what you like. So when you sold it, did you get another 400, or was it a chance to like move up to a 600 or something?
Went to
Jesus.
125.
It's windy
We're
today.
going
isn't
to
it?
blow over in a
Yeah,
minute.
so 125s.
Yeah, so luckily for me, there's a guy called Ian Quayle, who I think Bill owed him some money. So instead of giving him the money, he gave him a little 125.
Result for you.
Yeah, which he let me ride. It wasn't like a mega one. It was only, I'm sure it was only 600 quid maybe. It was proper. It was a 1992, it was an old one. But for me, it was a proper race bike, I come from the road bike to a proper little GP bike. So I was like, this is the way to go.
Talk us through your first high side. Because they do catch you out them 125s, especially when they do go. It's not for people that maybe just ride 600s. When the rear starts to slide, you get like a good amount of warning, and then if you learn how to do it, when it does go, you can catch it on the throttle and like sort of power slide out. On a 125, you do not have that opportunity. If it's going, the next thing is it's going to hurt. So can you remember your first decent high side?
I can, but it was off. I come off 125 onto 250, so Bill lent me a 250.
Like a proper GP 250.
Yeah.
Wow.
At Anglesey.
Which corner?
But it's the old Anglesey, so old it's the old Anglesey, so it's the old circuit. So it's into school, the first corner, which is completely different to what it is now.
All right.
But you know the hairpin now.
Turn 2 hairpin.
The last corner hairpin.
Oh, the last corner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you go.
Oh yes, on the crap circuit. Yeah, in the background.
So you go bombing up to that long hairpin, back down, and then you're left over the start finish.
Yes, I.
So if you come down that hairpin, it used to just go straight on and then back up the hill. So that used to be the old start finish.
Got you, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's going down there up the hill. So I basically come off 125 into the 250 race, and I thought, well, I've never raced 250 before, so I'll kind of hang back and kind of suss out who I'm racing with. And this is what my mentality at the time, but like they went into the first corner quite slow, and I thought, ooh, I could win this. And I wanted to make up the time that I'd lost hanging back, so I just I don't even. But I must have landed like that and broke both wrists at the same time.
Oh, blimey.
So that was
Was that
that's
your
my experience.
Was that your first decent injuries as
Yeah,
well? 2
yeah.
broken wrists.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a logistic nightmare as well for when you're healing, because obviously you've got to keep your casts dry, and for like obviously everything you do, like just normal
Say it,
life
Chrissy,
things.
wipe your arse.
Yeah,
Say the words, wipe your arse.
everything you do. It's an I broke a hand and a wrist at the same time, and being in a similar sort of position, and your family. That's when your family, your family, your poor man, and your family is really comes in handy for times, doesn't it?
Pardon the pun there, Chrissy. They are very
handy.
proud. But can you remember your first? That is a mint question. Can you remember your first high side?
Oh, I still dream about it.
We had a guest star. Who was the guest who at High Side Dreams? Joe Ackroyd.
Yes.
Was it there? Like, do you ever have high side dreams?
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is a psychological breakthrough for mental health. This,
think
all road races, like.
Every bike race has high side dreams.
That's a proper body shock, though, isn't it? Because you just go into this. It's like it just slows down.
To be fair, my first one was a wet one, which sort of didn't count because it was wet. And,
That was a high side dream or the wet dream. We're getting a little bit mixed up here. So.
A wet high side it was, and that was at Wilton Mill in the qualifying, and it was my first ever road race, like on tarmac, because I'd done motocross, and it was chucking it down on a obviously go-kart track, and we used to use these Sava wets. They were basically just dry tyres, the like rock solid, just rubbish in the wet, and there was hardly anyone out, so I thought, like, I was a bit confused why, like, most of the grid had just sat out the qualifying. So I went out and just, I maybe only lasted like a couple of laps, and then just massive high side. And it's one of those where you're like, oh, that's why they're obviously not going out on track. But I still, and I didn't really hurt myself. But the first dry one was actually at Teesside on a Tuesday night, and it was after that meeting we went practicing. So it was like very inexperienced.
What bike?
What bike this? Yeah.
Little
What bike?
Metrokit 70cc.
Right.
And,
How old were you?
11, 12, something like that.
Full on trauma,
there's-
11-year-old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
Burnett Field lads, you see.
There's a chicane out the back of Teesside, and I just remember it was a beautiful, like, sort of early summer's evening, Tuesday night practice, and just getting faster and faster, more confident. And then there's this chicane, and obviously I was just a little bit greedy on the throttle, and I just remember just getting pinged. You don't even know what's happening because you don't really understand what's like going on. But I just remember getting pinged up in the air, like sort of half knocking myself out, and I was a bit concussed. And then looking up, and the petrol tank was over there in the bike. And I had such a sore jaw. I couldn't eat for a few days because my jaw was that sore. But nothing broken or anything, like nothing too serious. But you're on the little bikes, you 2 strokes, you definitely.
I bet they go when they go. I bet they're like you said. There's nothing, and then straight.
And I found that this similar on even the GP125s because you don't get that slide, so you don't get that time to correct. Can you remember your first decent one?
Oh God, I remember my first crash, East Fortune. I remember watching this bloke. I didn't really understand the concept of an apex. I was just amazed. I was getting corner to corner at that point, and I remember going in, going, "Why is that bloke on the left?" And I remember looking at him, saw the corner, gave a handful of brake, and lost the front. Went to Croft, first ever race, and I got all the way through practice. First race, got to the corner, and you know that right hand, the first right hander. I just went in and adrenaline took over, and I just went bang, and it was just orange. Like I was just full. Like I had an orange hoodie. I've got a photo. My mum's got a photo of it. Instead of a bib, I thought I'm going into March. It's going to be freezing. I was sweating me nuts off. Just standing there in this bright orange hoodie, and I just high-sided the absolute crap out of myself, lying on the floor. Just bought this lid, bought me gloves, bought me boots, and everything was just trashed. Look, I didn't get run over, to be fair, like. But no, that was my first proper high side.
I'll show you. I've actually got a good high side video on YouTube. I'll stick it on now and I'll show you it. And I'll get my sister to edit this in so you can see it. So this was Super Teen Days, so I'm second at the moment.
Whatever, why did you stop with the St. George's flag helmet design?
This is a good pass, watch this. Doof, up the inside.
Followed by...
Yeah, followed by...
Oh.
He gives it the big one and he's handfuls and over.
You wouldn't think you could high side one of those.
I know, yeah, they're only like a little 30 break. Watch this angle here. You see the rear just starting now. Get off.
How much of a gap did you create there, though? You know, before she let go, it was it was proper bridging a gap there.
Yeah.
There's a close one, wasn't it? That was Callum Bay and Jake Dixon there.
Oh, there we go, you see. Name dropping there, son. Name dropping. So, I tell you what, speaking of name drop, that's a great question. Who was your first rock star you raced against then?
Probably
Stuart Easton in the pod there. Please tell me it's him.
Probably when I did Super Sport,
Right.
I reckon.
So-
'Cause it was
Could I just ask, on the 125s, did you go British Championship on that, or was that just club racing?
club racing and then British.
Oh,
yeah.
you did enter some BSB?
Yeah.
So, how many years of club before you did British?
2.
Straight in the deep end. Go for it.
But I did club, and then I did MRO, which is London Sport,
Yes.
and then a bit of MRO and British. Because I thought if you want to progress, you got to drop yourself right in the deep end, haven't you? So
This wasn't still on the £600 bike, though, was it?
no, so I sold that, and then I bought another one. I got a bank loan, and basically there's
I was wondering how the finances came into this.
the guy around the corner from me, Phil Ridgway, I think his name was. He was selling his, so I bought his bike off him. So
Was it on the scale of 125s? Was it a pretty decent one? Or?
it wasn't a decent one, but it was better than the older one.
Yeah, fair
There we are. Progression's progression.
Yeah, and then like later on, I got a sponsor that bought me an A kit for it, which basically a power up kit, which what and you needed for British Championships. That made a difference. So it wasn't the best.
So, what was your experience like stepping up to British? Because I've done like one wild card and my eyes were just opened up immediately? Was it just like, for me, it was like, my God, this is what it takes to get up to the front. Was that similar for you then?
Yeah,
or?
I don't know. I think because I kind of wanted it. You know, I stood at the side of the track watching the 125s, trying to guess where I'd be. You know, if I was racing out there. So I was like, well, I'm going to be with the guys at the back somewhere. So where do I think I'll be? You know, I didn't have. It wasn't like a big thing, because I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew I didn't have a very good bike comparatively, you know. So I knew it was massive learning, because I was on a huge learning curve. So I wasn't like going in there going, yeah, I'm awesome. And then getting a rude awakening. I very much was on the learning curve. So I was like, I'm going in to learn. I just want to learn, and I'm going to ride my hardest. So
kind of like realistic ambitions going
sort of,
in.
yeah. So which I think is quite good, because there's nothing worse than going in there and getting really demoralised, because
I did that.
Really
I knew I was going to be rubbish, and I was at the back. So there you go.
Because it can be, because it is harder than it looks. You know,
Oh, God,
yeah. You go from like Thundersport was hard, MRA was hard, but then British another step up. But it's so good for you, bringing you on. You know, try and hang on to people and follow and.
Oh God,
it brings you on.
But like you say, I totally agree. I'm in the same mindset. It's like if you want to go fast, you got to go out with the fast people. Period, haven't you? And that's every sport across the world. You got to be with the best, haven't you?
So what sort of year was this when you were doing BSB 125s?
So the first year was 2003, and then I stayed there till 2007 in 125s.
Oh, fantastic! And did you have any like sort of standout results, or like what was your best result when you were?
Yeah, 2004. I got in the lead of the British 125 from 19th on the grid.
Wow!
I was over the moon, because I was on second-hand tyres. My bike wasn't the best.
You come the excuses
Yeah.
again. I
How
was
did you
leading
get
it, but
from 19th?
It was a damp race.
Just let's have it.
what tyre choice did you go for?
I went for slicks. So the commentator goes, "Oh, she must be on wet," but I was on slicks.
And the rest, what were the rest of the field on?
So it's a 50-50 mix.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a bit where I got like this name drop. I got past Eugene Lafferty on the Red Bull, because I wanted to be in the Red Bull. They had Red Bull
Rookies.
yeah. Like they had Johnny Ray and Eugene Lafferty. It's like, I remember they did an article Gus Scott did an article in Performance Bikes. I was like reading I was like dying to be in that team, and then so to get past that bike was like, what? But then I fell off, so it didn't last very long. But
How long did you lead it for?
only nearly a lap.
Oh, damn it. So, like, was that hard? Like early lap or like?
It was towards the end. You know, you got Sheen Curve, and then what's the left-hander under the trees? Sterling's. But it's because it's always slippery in it, because it's under the trees, and it was still a little bit damp, and I was pushing on because I wanted to stay in the lead, and then I was off. But
the worst thing that could have happened here is if you did it extremely early on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you were mid-grade and you led it, then bollocked it up, it would be like, oh, that's crap, isn't it? But the fact that you worked all the way to 19,
yeah.
fair play to you, mind.
But I mean, I come off, but I was so happy, and then when I went down pit lane, everyone was clapping me, and I was like, oh, this
amazing,
is brilliant. And then I think that's what got me a go on the Rizzler. I think it might have been what got me going on the Rizzler Suzuki later on.
People won't understand that. In your workshop, you've got a beautiful picture up there of it's Chris Walker's bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the Rizzler Suzuki at Mallory Park for Race of the Year. So that was from a 125. You'd never been on 1,000. And for the Race of the Year, the team just said, like, do you want to have a go?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is this stock or a superbike?
Superbike, yeah.
That's a jump, mind.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of like somebody doing 125s now and Paul Bird saying, do you want to take the bike for like the sunflower type of thing? Yeah,
it was crazy. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk through that, because that photo there, you looked immediately comfy on it. You know what I mean? Hanging off at like borderline elbow down situation. How many laps did that take you?
Well, that's funny, because I felt comfortable on it, but I wasn't fast by any means, you know.
No, but that's half the battle, though, isn't it? Because, like, face it, a 125, like, tiny little thing to a 1,000-seat helmet.
Growing up, that was my favourite colour scheme, the Rizzler Suzuki. I had all the gear, the cap, the shirt, everything. And, I used to love, like, obviously John Reynolds was there, and then Scott Smart was there for a brief time. Can you remember Kageyama?
My helmet's based on Kageyama's.
Is it?
Because with the two stripes as well, because I really liked his helmet, so... Yeah.
Whatever happened to Kageyama?
Does he still race in Japan, doesn't he? I think, maybe.
I've
That's another one for the quiz at the end of this.
I follow him on Twitter, but obviously it's all in Japanese, so I have no idea what he's saying.
Do you still like the comments, though? Even
yeah,
though you don't know
it's got to be good.
Put a like on it. There you are.
Yeah.
So what happened after that then? So you've gone from like that, hopping on 1,000. So what was your next step after that winter?
So I desperately wanted to move up 600, so there's always kind of a progression, isn't it? You start off on the smaller bikes and you move up. And British Championship didn't have the 250s anymore, so it was to the 600s. But I didn't have enough money to move, but it was kind of like now or never, because I've been stuck in 125s for longer than I wanted to be. And luckily enough for me, a lad called Aaron Walker, he used to race in 125s. He was in 600s, and he bought an amazing Tenkate 600, but the new model 600 had come out, and he was selling his older one, the old shape one, and I guess nobody wanted it. Everyone wanted to get the latest 6. So luckily enough for me, it was still sat there for sale, sort of towards the start of the season. So another £5,000 loan later, and rocked up to his and bought it. And it was immaculate. I can't fault them. It was immaculate bike, such a good bike. It just happened to be the older shape.
Was that when they brought the underseat exhaust out?
Yeah, it's the really nice shaped one with the underseat exhaust, and yeah.
I've got a.
Was that the first was that the first 600 to stop manufacturing Supersport? You know how there was like it just degraded rapidly, didn't it? It was I think the R6 is the last one that got made. So I think Honda kicked it off by that being. When was the last one? This is just turning into a quiz, isn't it? That's all it is. I'm going to have to find out.
That sort of middleweight class, there's a bit of a sort of question mark over it at the moment, isn't there? Because there was talk of it kind of like running its course, but it's been such an amazing class for British racing and around the world, but especially in British Supersport for such a long time. But it's sort of turned into something else now.
Trying to sort of evolve to Moto 2, isn't it? Kind of.
Well, there's the Moto 2 class within the Supersport, and also there's these new Supersport bikes that are now eligible. So I guess
the Ducati, the Triumph.
After 2021, we'll sort of have a much better idea about like where things are fitting in, and it'll be interesting to see where this Triumph 765 fits in. Because at the moment, the Appleyard bikes have definitely been the benchmark bikes in British Supersport.
Yeah.
But
is that 4 seasons they've won
back to back, but dominated like every time. So it'll be interesting to see, because the Triumph isn't actually a race bike. The 765, it starts as like a commuter bike, and then they turn it into what is sort of like a super sport bike now. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. And
who's your favourite then?
Sorry?
For the super sport this year then, who's your favourite?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, no, it doesn't work like this on the show. We put people on the spot all the time. It's what we do very well.
Who's your favourite?
Well, no, I want to see Jack Kennedy do well, and I think it's a tall reach. I really think, but you see, Jack Kennedy's held so many lap records, and with Rory Skinner, that was going to push him. But you see, did Rory Skinner actually beat his outright lap records last year? Jack Kennedy still owns a lot of them, and you think he was so dominant on that Appleyard R6. What's he going to do on it? Is it the 636, or has he gone straight the 600? Because Gearlink messed things about, because the 636 chassis wasn't working. So at the end of the year, it was a Ben Curry.
Yes.
Ben Curry hopped on. He got an engine from Silicon Engineering, Dean Harrison's engine, put it in the old bike, and he was immediately battling at the front again.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to see what. First of all, is it a 636, 600? And I really hope he pushes one.
Will be interesting. Really, and obviously, you've got a lot of experience in the Supersport class. Same again. Did you have any? Is there any sort of standout memories or standout performances?
Before you answer that, who's going to win? Who's going to win it? Well, how are you trying to get around this?
I'm going to give you Jack Kennedy.
Jack Kennedy, right, There we go then. Sorry, carry on, Chrissy, there you are.
Yeah, go on. So, from your time in Britain... we didn't actually... other than leading that race, what was your best result in 125s?
Oh, I got... 2 rounds later, I got a 10th. My first points, yeah.
Very good. And
I was triple.
And then when you got into Supersport, were you there for a good few years on the CBR?
3 and a bit, yeah.
At BSB?
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a class, isn't it? It's so competitive. And we were just talking earlier about there being a qualifying race for the Supersport race itself, and like pack grids and whatever. Did you enjoy your time racing in British Supersport?
Yeah, I loved it. So I got on that bike. One of my best memories is getting third on the grid in wet qualifying, because I like the wet.
Mm-hmm. But whereabouts was that at?
Alton. But they had 2 qualifying sessions, so it was when they had 2 qualifying sessions. I think it's just 1 now, but yeah. So the first qualifying session in the wet, I was third on the grid, which I was like quite scared about. Yeah. But then it dried up for second qualifying, so I went back down to normal kind of. Yeah.
So your lap times throughout that, we were talking about that. Every time you try and get on the bike, you try and improve, and it becomes like lap records haven't really changed that much, so everyone just keeps like their standard. But like building up through those years of like building up classes and getting faster and faster, was that progressive steady or was it quite similar, if you know what I mean? In the 600, 3 years at Supersport, what were your lap difference?
No, they were getting better because I sold the older shape CBR and got the newer shape one.
How much lap difference was in that then, just in bike alone?
Probably maybe half second.
Right.
And then obviously I was getting better as well.
Yeah.
Because then I rode in the Cup Championship and I would have won it, but they did the Cup on countback, so you dropped 2 of your rounds, so ended up 3rd. But I was.
Who was your main competitors in that?
Dan Neen, who's unfortunately not here anymore, and Pat McDougall, I think it was. I think he won it, and Dan was 2nd, and I was 3rd. But it's good. That's another good memory. Because I had an ace party at the end of the season, and we were hanging around with Dan and all his crew, and just having a really good time. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
that is unreal.
And I remember watching you at Thundersport battling it out with the likes of like Phil and stuff, and you had a year sort of totally committed to Thundersport GB was it the GP1 title?
So this is stepping up onto the big bikes,
on the big bikes, yeah. And that doesn't seem that long ago. What was it, about 4 years ago?
No, I think it's like 2012, maybe.
Was that long ago?
Quite long ago, yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, and I remember. I mean, was that your first go on 1,000? Did you go from British Supersport, step up to 1,000, but go to Thundersport? Was that?
No. Wow, I can't remember. Good point. I think because I did. No, I think because I bought an Evo Superbike, so it was to do Superbikes, and I think I did Thundersport to get sharp.
Right.
Because I was basically looking at my qualifying times on the Supersport was fast enough to be right at the end of the grid on the Superbike. So I thought, well, I know I can ride that fast enough to qualify, just or not far off, So I thought if I can get that, I can at least crowbar myself into the end of the grid.
Yeah.
So I think it was a case of getting the Thar, which I bought off Craig Fitzpatrick. And it was the year that they changed to Evo, so he was one of the first Evo bikes. And then do the Thundersport to get sharp for British, because Thundersport's such a good class. It's strong championship.
Did you have some good battles against the likes of Phil and there's the John Ingram and the
like the best one's obviously Alton, where I beat both of them. That one was cool. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
But like Cadwell, no one could get close to Phil around Cadwell.
Phil's an absolute
Phil's
monster,
special around Cadwell.
Yeah.
Did you beat them both at Alton Park?
Yeah, I won both races at Alton.
Hey, that's mega. That
it's 2012.
I think it was 2012. I can't remember. It's on. I've got video of it somewhere.
Wet or dry race?
Dry.
Good. This is mint.
And Ingram, to be fair, Ingram's bike blew up right over the start finish on the last lap. That was.
And that was
how tight was that race then? Like, you know what I mean? You talk about what is your favourite race? I've just jumped in with a talk around a bit. What is your outstanding? That gotta be.
Those two were great. Yeah, because to win 1000cc class race was cool, and it was it's a strong grid as well.
It's a seriously strong grid.
So definitely enjoyed those. And then I think any race is where you're having a battle with a few other people is always good.
When you mention Craig Fitzpatrick, I automatically think Yamaha because he's such a Yamaha man. Was that a Yamaha then?
No, it was a Honda. So he raced in British Superbike Championship himself, but he had a Honda.
On the Honda, and then he's went Yamaha when he's been like team owner, team boss type of thing.
Yeah.
And when around that sort of time when you stepped up to 1,000, at this point were you just racing short circuits, or had you already made inroads to doing the like real road racing?
No, so I did the Alaman 2009, so I was on the 600 then.
Right, okay. So even before you'd been on 1,000?
Yeah.
And you went to the Isle of Man with just the one bike?
No, because Paul Phillips said if you're going to come to the Isle of Man, you want as many laps as you can get, so bring 1,000 as well. So okay.
So the first time you had to go on 1,000 was at the Isle of Man TT?
Yeah, I think I did a couple of track days just to have a go, and then I didn't really know how to ride 1,000 at the Isle of Man, so I literally did what John McGuinness said, and that's keep it in the middle, just drive down the middle of the road. That's what I did.
What can I just ask?
Sorry, I've missed out on timeline here. So your first time on 1,000 was down the Bray Hill.
I did do a couple of track days. It's not completely.
Sorry, so you're battling out from Phil Crow was after the fact of going down.
Yeah.
Fair. That is anyone.
When it came to going to the TT, did you go straight to the TT, not the banks?
Yeah, luckily enough for me, I think doing British Championship, obviously they're very selective on who goes. And,
Yes,
Yeah, so I think luckily being in British Championship, sort of put me in good stead to go.
How did the doors open for that? Was it a case of did you want to do the TT and sort of get in touch with the organisers and sort of how did that all come about?
So I was friends with Paul Shoesmith, who was racing in Superstock at the time, and I wanted to go, but again, it's one of those things that I don't know how to go, who to approach or what to do. So he's like, come over with us. So I went over with him a few times to learn the circuit and go around with Milky Quail and all the rest of it. So
was that in the double decker?
No, it's just in the car. Just in the car. Have you been around in the double decker? Did you go around the double decker?
No, I was on a minibus because I did the Manx Grand Prix. That was a crowned bus, but no, never 1-to-1. But what was the family like when you came home and just went, right, well, I've done the British thing. I'm fed up with that now. I'm doing the TT. I bet their faces dropped to the floor.
I think I'm really lucky. My parents are just super, super cool. They're just supportive, and yeah, if you want to go do it. So,
Because any parent, any racer would be like, just suddenly out of the blue, just coming home. And that's like you going back to your mum and dad, just going, I'm not giving this a crack at the
when it came to doing the TT, was it a case of, did you spend like the full year going out and getting hire cars and like learning the track and whatever? Or was it did you sort of just learn it on the Xbox or something? Or?
I learned it mostly from when I did go around with Milky Quail. I filmed the lap on my phone. This is before iPhones as well. So it's like little Sony Ericsson. So the footage is not the
flip phone.
Yeah, footage is not the greatest. But I filmed him because obviously he knows every inch of it, doesn't he? He knows all the yellow spots that are painted, which curbs to be near, which hedges to tuck into, and so I filmed him, thinking I'm never going to learn this. I have no idea where we are, and then applied it sort of to a Guy Martin on board, which was a race on board. So I thought you could do with a race one because it's up at top speed, and then basically just wrote myself a book. So I printed off a picture of the corner, what Milky says to do, what relative speed, and then learnt it that way. So
have you still got that book?
I need to dig it out. It's in the loft somewhere. I've got that book.
I would love to read that.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to see that.
So how many times were you going over to do laps in?
I think we only went 3 times, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. So we went with Sean Emmett because Sean Emmett was nearly going to do it. And then I remember going with Easton and Bridewell and a few others.
Is this where the toilet story all started?
I know. Bridewell, Tommy Bridewell.
Yeah. He was thinking of doing it.
Yeah, a few times Tommy's been close to doing the Northwest, hasn't he? And it's just never sort of lined up.
Did you ever do the Northwest?
No. I did go over with a view to do it, but I never got to do it, no.
Why is that? Because I tell you what, it's weird. We've literally just come from like Steve Brogan's interview, come here, and like it was like we were talking about the concept of like loads of riders, especially British riders, do the Northwest because it's like deemed as the safer event, with the runoff and stuff like that. But that's interesting that you never. So yeah, why didn't you do the Northwest?
Basically, sort of nearly financially bankrupt our business going over and doing the Isle of Man. So to take another 2 weeks off to do Northwest was just not feasible because we were doing British as well. So,
Jesus. And talk us through your very first time at the TT. Obviously, John just said stay in the road. And did you follow that advice?
Yeah, like follow the white line, follow the white line.
Really?
But yeah, I remember because we got to follow Milky Quail on the sighting laps. I remember thinking, this is mega. I can't wait till, because you follow him on lap and then you're free to go on your own.
I think, me personally, I've never, ever, ever, ever counted as that tail lap as a lap in my mind. When you're in a queue of people and you're just going, it's just, I don't know, it's like, when you're waking up in the morning, you're awake, but you're not. That's what that lap counts as. But your first what was your first time getting tapped on the shoulder like? That's what we want to know. Your first, by yourself, off you go. What was that like for you?
I don't know. I thought it was ace because when I had a little TS125, I used to blat around the road pretending I was a racer. So to be allowed to go freely with no oncoming traffic and no policemen.
What was it like? You know what I mean? Like, I can just remember I've never gripped onto a bike so much in my fucking life like that first lap. Or were you? I've just got this image like the way you're smiling now. You're just like, yeah, this is mint.
Was your first lap on the 6 or the 5?
Oh, good point. Probably to the 6, I think. Yeah.
Now, if you were going to go back again, we're going to discuss why you haven't gone back or everything like that. But if you're going to go back again, what would you do your first night on? If you had a choice, 1,000 or 6?
Probably the Thou. Because I think if you can get the Thou sorted, the 6 looks after itself, doesn't it?
Totally agree. I'd rather go crap me pants straight away on the Thou. That's the truth. If I had to pick out the 6 or the Thou, you just hop up, you just like pulling a plaster off. You're just going to go, if I'm going to go warp speed, we're going to go warp speed, and that's how it feels,
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
then you get on the 6 and like, oh, this is all right.
It feels
this.
like a BMX, doesn't it? You're just
Yeah.
like, just chucking it about.
Yeah.
But it shows how much harder that 600 race is, isn't it?
Yeah, crikey, yeah, the speed they go on then.
That you are pushing.
Yeah.
You know, even though, like, if you went just on a 6 then dropped to a super twin, the super twin becomes a bit. That's how fast the places are, aren't they?
Yeah.
And how did your first year go in terms of like results and your lap speed?
At the Alaman.
Yeah, first year at Isle.
I was slow to start with, I tell you. I was struggling to get over 100 because I was just so like...
My first lap was like a 72, 74. Mine now, like my first solo.
Mine probably was, yeah, because you just like
Mind blown.
taking it all in, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then you got to build up your speed, but by the end of the week I was all right, yeah, settled into it.
What did you sort of get up to your first time there?
I did 116.8.
Wow.
That was my fastest. So that was all
And
right.
back in 2009, was that when had John done his 130 by then, or
Yeah, I think that was, wasn't it?
that
I
year?
think he'd done 130. Yeah, I think it was that year.
A millennial year, was it? No.
Can't
The
remember.
century year. Was it with John McGinnis? I can't remember. We are crap journalists,
should know
Chrissy. We should all know this, shouldn't we? We're not very good at our job. But sorry, I'm in my own little... You two talk.
I think
I'm
he's
trying to
listening
figure
to
this
the
out.
ice cream man outside.
Glazing over.
And so, and did the TT live up to expectations in terms of like?
Everything.
Everything and more, yeah.
Really?
Like a lot more. Just the whole place is so special. It's just... You can't even put into words and you can't imagine it before you go. It's just amazing.
So how many TTs have you done then?
I've only done 2.
Why that? Why is just the 2? Is that consecutively? So 1,
Yeah.
2, and then
Yeah.
what happened?
Well, one thing's financially, really, because of doing the British Championship as well. You know, we'd have to shut the workshop for probably it was a month, because we'd have a BSB the one side and then 2 weeks off and then the BSB the other side. And we just couldn't afford to do it. And then, go on.
No, sorry, no, I'm just sort of butting in there, but it's interesting for that. You've had that ultimate high of the TT. I'm a road, like I just do the road, so I've got a one-way answer with this.
Yeah.
But once you've sampled that TT and you chat like that, this is mint, this is great. Why did you carry on pursuing the BSB route then?
I think I'd already, because I had dreams, BSB dreams. You know, I wanted to get into superbikes and I wanted to put a lot of effort and time and money into pursuing that. So yeah, I really wanted to get into British superbike. So that's kind of the way I went. I was over the moon with what I did. The second year I went to the Isle of Man.
And that title still stands with your lap speed, doesn't it? Fastest woman ever on the TT at what speed?
Just under 120.
That is
And
pretty
did you
quick.
take that off Maria?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was her
She-
record?
I think it was 114.
So the
I'm not
first
sure.
year you went, did you break? Oh,
Yeah.
the very first time you were there, you broke the Guinness World Book of Records. Wow.
That is
And
mint.
it's proudly up in the workshop
not,
as well.
not on the toilet. They're like sitting there.
I should put it in the toilet, shouldn't I?
But so what year was that then? Your last year?
2010.
2010.
It's a long time ago. Time flies. Yeah.
Oh,
When did you
God.
first go there, Dom?
No, I just want you to go back. Like, imagine if you went back now, because the track is. Have you been back to spectate since?
Yeah, every year. So luckily I have.
So that's even worse, Jenny, man. You go back
No,
every
'cause-
year without a bike. Shame on you.
I've got amazing sponsors. So plug the sponsor, Manx Glass and Glazing, who sponsored me for the Isle of Man. He lives at the bottom of Bray, and we go over there every year, sit in hedge, have a beer, chill out, no pressure. And
Oh, amazing.
How can you do that?
oh, it's amazing. Have you ever the scariest stat at the side than it is?
No, the thing, I can't go watch it. Like watching him win the British title, name drop. I was a part of that team. You know what I mean? Well, not really. I was just in his way, but being a little bit a part of it. But even that killed me.
You wanted to
Watching,
be- yeah.
because I'm watching, and I'm going, I hate that. How can you go to the Isle of Man without a bike and what
I do short circuit. I feel like that. It's hard watching, not riding. But the Isle of Man, because it's so scary, just sat at the side of the road, and you get immersed in it. I can sit there.
Yeah,
and
fair,
watch
no,
it.
fair play. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying fair play
I
to you,
know,
'cause
but
that's something I couldn't do.
So since 2010, there's always been the desire to go back to do the TT, but it's purely been financial. Why you want on that grade?
It's a bit of both, really. I think because I was so happy with what I did. I was sort of content. I thought if I'm gonna go back and improve, I'm gonna have to apply myself a lot more, I've got to go. I need to do the Northwest really, and could do with doing the Ulster and properly going down that road. But yeah, because I was applying myself to the short circuit, I didn't have enough financial to go that way or enough time
And what about in the future? Is that something that you fancy going back to do?
I don't know. I'm never going to say never because I love it, but currently I'm content where I am,
which is that's a fair, honest answer. Because me and him are plugging away. This is going to work. Like we're going to get Tinmouth on a bike. Come on, let's get this done.
The racing.
That's it, exactly. GoFundMe page. Get it like a turbo, a full superbike. We can't even get that for ourselves. So
go on, what are you saying?
I was going to say, I listened to your interview with Paul Phillips, and he was sounding so positive about TT. I'm looking forward to
going back.
What it's going to be in the future, So
amazing.
I'll get you to hold a pit, but we're going to get you working this time. You know what I mean? Just
fancy changing a visor or doing the fuel stop or something. Have you ever worked as part of another team?
I did actually for Bill Smith in 2000. The first time I ever went over was with him in 2000, just to see it and be part of it. And then he got me doing the pit stop, which was clean his visor. But I remember he came in and I remember just smearing the flies right across his visor before he went out. I was like, oh no, it's going to kill me. And I don't think he even noticed, luckily enough. But I just...
Adrenaline's a funny thing.
Worst pit stop ever.
Really?
So, at what point did you actually fulfill the BSB dream? So you went from, I'm a little bit lost on the BSB side of things now, Super Sport, and then...
Bit of Thundersport to get ready for BSB.
Beat the lads, BSB.
Yeah. I got taken up by Split Lath Racing originally for 3 months on the Aprilia.
I remember
in
this.
BSB.
Why does that name ring up? Who was mentioning them?
Chris Burns was racing.
Chris Burns, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
How was riding the Aprilia?
It didn't go too well, to be fair. It spat me off absolutely everywhere. And obviously I was quite novice to the class and wasn't really allowed to change anything on the bike. And it would literally, the harder I broke, the more it got out of shape and just would fire me into the scenery. So it kind of 3 months down the line, I kind of decided to call it quits, and then went back to Super Sport. So yeah, I would have liked to have had a bit more free rein to change stuff and do things with it, but sort of weren't really allowed to. So
fair enough.
Which is fair enough because it's their team, and I was complete novice to the class, so I'll very much do as told kind of thing. So
yeah. Is any like, did you have, like, we were talking about Steve Brogan, but like, the mentor kind of thing, did you have anyone in that realm of things? Like, no coach, right? He talks, it's something I'm really discovering now, is like the rider coach element of it, but never had crew chiefs or anything like that. No one particular for you, so it was just get on it and
have a go, yeah.
Right.
Which I'm happy to do, but
would you change it? No, which is fair enough, but like, you talk about like, if you could go back, would that be something you'd change? Would there be someone you could take along with you? Like,
no, I think I learned a lot from that, and discussing the problem that I had with the bike. Can't remember. I told somebody, and he was like, "Oh, I think it was." No, I can't remember. But basically, he sort of said, "We did this," and I learned what I could have possibly done to that bike. And it was good. It was a learning curve, And then I went back to Super Sport, and then got my own bike and went my own way with Honda that got off Craig.
And was that in the Eagle class in BSB?
Yeah.
So were you kind of just running your own team, but in British Superbikes?
Yeah. So
that's a hell of a thing to do, isn't it?
Well, it was luckily, they changed the spec of the bikes to make it cheaper for everybody.
How much cheaper are we talking?
So I reckon I did the season for maybe 35-40 grand.
British Superbikes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like super cheap.
Yeah.
Because the bike's
still 35 grand, but I know what you're saying.
We're not like using your full tyre allocation and things like that.
No, and we were using pump fuel instead of the race fuel.
How did you get away with that?
Well, you just hopefully didn't get tested. I remember I got put to the back of the grid.
Wow.
Jenny, can you please come to the scrutiny bay for a fuel check? Please, every meeting.
Do you know what?
Much,
we always get people on here say that talk like X racing. They're talking about like running the vans on red diesel and stuff. I've never ever heard of anybody using pump fuel in BSB.
What's the worst thing is that when you get caught, you just get put back to the grids. Not only are you putting yourself at a disadvantage because you're just running pump fuel. Not that I think it makes a huge difference, but you just get put back.
I think it's the same. It's
just bend the rules to suit me. I like
if you got the like Shell Premium or any of the like BP Extra or whatever they call it, I think in terms of the octane, I think it's the same like 99 or 98 or whatever, but the idea of having a control fuel takes that variable away. So like, for example, if there was no control, then people could run on avgas or whatever, and like well, whatever, you'll be able
It's
to
a
get like
money
high
thing, isn't it?
performance fuel.
Yeah.
But obviously, the downside to that is to have a controlled fuel, there has to be one supplier, and therefore the price goes right up. So
Yeah.
I can't remember what the
Cash back in.
like last year.
Yeah, some of them.
I can't remember per litre, but like £3-4 a litre type of thing. When you think of pump fuel, it's
quite a lot, isn't
it is a lot, yeah. But yeah, fair play for admitting it. We're not
Any other confessions you'd like to check out there? Big ball pistons, anything like that?
yeah, like 30 grand. And talk us through you obviously you set your dream to race in BSB and
Yeah.
to finally get there. What was it like?
Again, it's just amazing. I sat on the grid for the first race thinking, wow, I'm actually sat with my heroes kind of on the grid. Yeah. And
How did you find the attention side of things, like say pit walk and like thousands of fans coming to get pictures and autographs and stuff like that?
I guess I found it quite strange because that was me. You know, I used to be the one getting all the autographs off the riders, and I've got obviously Stuart used to poster them. So I used to go and get the posters and
I
the
really hope he
autographs.
comes down just to open the door to see that. I'd be like, what the?
I'm the same. I remember going as a kid and being like just being flabbergasted, like there is like Leon Haslam, and like just almost you're like almost like I cannot believe like that it's almost like they're a real person type of thing, where it's so weird like to then like Leon, we had Leon not long ago, and that's just as an example, but like there's loads of people like that which like growing up. Again, Michael Rutter was one for me where I remember as a kid being like he was winning races and then to be on track with him and it's surreal, really, isn't it? Is it who was there anyone in particular that for you when you were growing up that you idolised that you've been on track with?
Probably Chris Walker, yeah. And then to get to ride his bike as well, which was pretty cool. Yeah, because I really wanted him to win the championship in 2000. Yeah, I was a massive Chris Walker fan.
Is Chris Walker still doing the sidecars?
I don't know.
Not true.
When he stopped doing the big bike stuff, didn't he? He went into sidecars for a few years and not heard anything.
He was riding for the BY's the team, wasn't he, for a while, and then Mark Smith Halverson's GB Motos team, and then he was a rider coach for Sean Winfield, I think, for a little bit in the tag team. That's the last time I've seen him on a bike. But then obviously he's done a good few years in the sidecar, and I think he's been busy with work. He's got a dealership and stuff now, and a Kawasaki dealership. But mega. And did you stay in BSB for the following year with running yourself type of thing? How many years did you do that for?
3.
3 years. And again, was it each year were you just really low budget, just doing it yourself type of thing?
I just basically sort of blagged my way through.
That's amazing.
Just because I thought as long as you got the bike, you sort of got a start, and then hopefully you can pick up some money as you go in. Having the bike initially is the hardest bit, and then trying to drag in. Well, I say that, but then trying to drag in the money to run it. So yeah.
And were you doing all of the mechanics work?
Yeah. So Steve Bradley, who owns the business with me, so just basically me and Steve. So we share it between us. Yeah.
And on race weekends and stuff, were you just purely focusing on the racing, or were you getting your hands dirty as well? Or?
Both. You know, if I'd have a crash, we'd both get stuck in, just to get it fixed as much as quickly as possible. And
would you change that if you could? Because he doesn't touch his own bike. He's got an army of friends, like good, dedicated friends. You do no, but but that's the support. Like Chris says to push through them levels. People change their attitudes in a good way and think, well, I just need to focus on that. But if you could change that, would you?
Yeah, I think so, because it is better. Like when I joined Honda, I wasn't allowed to touch the bike. I was literally turn up, ride the bike, which is so good because you can just focus on your own part to the team, if you know what I mean. You can focus as being a rider. And
was so after 3 years of running yourself in British Superbikes, was it a case? Did Honda approach you and talk us through how that all came about?
Yeah, so that's I remember going to them and then last round, I think it was at Brands, and basically seeing if I could buy some forks off them, and just thinking, I could do some upgrade equipment somewhere, and then nothing came of that. And then I got a call off Nick Campolucci, who was head at Honda UK at the time, and he said, "How would you like, to be involved with Honda? Do you want to meet up at the NEC in Birmingham, the bike show the annual bike show at the NEC?"
Where were you at this point? Were you in the workshop, like mid-butty with the phone, going, "Oh, I'm going to help"? Where were you when you got that call?
Email. He sent me an email. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, met him at the bike show, assuming that they'd maybe just offer me some parts. Maybe a little bit of help, maybe an engine, maybe some parts, a little bit of kind of a bit of assistance.
Yeah.
And he basically said, if we're going to help you, we're going to do it properly. Do you want to join the team? So I was like, I had to think about that for a nanosecond. And I remember leaving, getting back in my car and just sort of sitting in the car and like shell-shocked. Yeah.
What did that opportunity entail? Was that just a full British superbike season? Was that just what else? Any like endurance? What were the options?
No, just the British Superbike Championship. So
and how did you find it?
Just the Superbike Championship.
How did you
wore off a duck's back?
How did you find because that's like a factory ride really in British Superbikes, isn't it? How did you find sort of working with the factory at Louth? And I presume you'll have learned a lot about sort of bikes and the geometry and that type of stuff.
Yeah, so
I bet they were patting you down at the end of the night for like spanners for your workshop. But we're losing a lot of titanium bolts here.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you're
That's a
just
nice
jingling out the shop. Sorry, I'm not. Oh god, just calling her a thief. Great idea.
Well, so what was it like being like that sort of treatment?
Yeah, obviously it's massive contrast. I've gone from like one end of the scale completely to the other. For full factory team with team mechanics and everything you could wish for, kind of thing. Yeah, so massive learning curve just to learn how they work, how they operate, what they do. Definitely the technical side of setting up the bikes. I didn't really know a great deal about that when I was running myself.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of fumble our way through that, so that was really good to learn. And then having Dan and Jason as teammates was brilliant because they were fantastic with me. So yeah,
as in sort of helping you, Dan Linfoot
and Jason O'Halloran.
Yeah,
right.
They were great. Yeah, that was probably one of the best elements of being in a team. Having teammates for the first time. So
what in terms of like helping you ride, like in terms of giving you pointers for riding or like data or
pointers. I think pointers for riding, and then comparing, being able to compare data and listen, because obviously we'd have a team debrief at the end of every meeting and listening to their feedback and then knowing what I was feeling on the bike and how it compared to what they were feeling. That sort of gave you a sense of confidence in what you thought you were feeling, because they would be saying things that you were thinking, so that was quite good. It's just nice because when you're on your own, you don't know exactly what you think this is happening, but you're not too sure. It's nice to have the reassurance that somebody else is feeling the same thing, and that helps you to build confidence in knowing how to set up a bike a little bit. And
was there never an option to go at the TT with
I was
Honda?
going to say, especially with Honda.
They did say about going, but I didn't want to at that point. So
just focusing on the BSB type of thing.
Yeah, I think I couldn't. It was quite daunting anyway, having that much attention, and then to go to the TT, I'm quite, as you know, I'm quite relatively shy anyway. So I think to have that much attention would have just been too much for me. So
bit over the top.
Yeah.
So what did he gain from the factory step up in time on track then? The factory bike, the factory teammates, the factory everything.
Well, for the first year, not a lot, to be fair.
Right.
My lap times on my older bike stood pretty much. I only beat a few of them on the new bike, so
yeah,
it was quite difficult to start because I didn't have a crew chief and a few things that I'd missed out kind of at the start of the season. So we were quite late really to get going really, and it was quite a big learning curve to start.
Bet it was.
With. Yeah.
And looking back on that time, do you look back on it with like fond memories? Did you enjoy that?
I did. It's sort of a 50-50 thing because I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed having teammates, and I enjoyed everyone that I met and what I learned. But there's other sides that I wish I'd maybe done different. So yeah, and it's interesting. It's a huge learning curve, But I'm so grateful for being able to go in that team. That was the dream team to be in. So
I was about to say, because you rode for Ashcourt Racing as well with the Lee Johnson, and
Yeah.
Lee's very open. He's very open book, and that's why we all like Lee Johnson. It's like it was very much a tick in the box for him. The factory offer, people that only dream of having that, and I think if you gave him that option again, I don't think he would take it. Not Honda and specifically, the factory scenario. Would be that the same if a factory offer came on the table right now? Would you rip their arm off, or?
I think you've got to know who you're dealing with. So yeah, because it's very, you aspire to a team.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not necessarily what you kind of think it is. So sometimes, because there'll be young girls and lads coming up that aspire to a certain team, but I think you should know your stuff, if you know what I mean, and have
That's good advice, isn't it? Because
it's not always you see the glitz and the glamour and you think it's a certain thing, but it's not necessarily what you think it is. So
there we are.
be very open-minded and educate yourself on.
Yeah, good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good
Now,
advice.
going to just this year, gone on the brand new BMW Gen 4 for Ashcourt. And obviously, I've seen you on track quite a bit this year. And I noticed one early on you were running the split throttle on the bike, weren't you?
Yeah.
And
That sounds mint.
we were talking about that.
I'm a fan of that noise.
And it's like a real grunty noise in the corners, and then as you pick the bike up, it goes to like the usual sort of high pitch.
Yeah.
How do you sort of evaluate 2020? And like, did you like the bike?
I love the team, love the bike. It was again, I'm unbelievably grateful to Phil Reed for giving me the chance, and obviously being teammates with Lee's cool because Lee's just amazing and fun. I loved it. I'm really grateful that they let me have a few goes on the bike. So, and the bike was outstanding. I got, when I was riding it, I mean, I was a bit slow to it, if you know what I mean, because I think I'd missed a year or 2 years. So it's going to take me a bit to get back.
So is this after the Honda? So
Yeah.
Honda, then you had a gap for
2 years,
2
17.
years.
Yeah.
And so you step back in with Lee this year?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And that would have been from Superbike to a stock 1000 straight away. So.
Yeah, but the bike, unbelievable. I said to Roger McCreachy, this bike's capable of winning with a better rider on it, but it's like fantastic. The split throttle is brilliant.
I know you're very modestly saying like you were steady after having such time off, but if you actually go back and look at the, like, say the first round and like testing and stuff, there's I'm pretty sure that you're like faster than Michael Dunlop, or like around Dean Harrison, Michael Dunlop. There's some like top doers.
You're not a mug, are you? So there you go.
We'll have to get the timesheet up because I'm pretty sure you might have been ahead of them. And you think Superstock's so competitive, like all the way through the grid. Like I say, there's
ridiculous.
What's the plans for this coming season in 2021? Have you got anything sorted?
Yeah, so hopefully I want to go back to running myself again.
Which class?
Superstock, yeah.
Superstock.
Obviously, it's such a good class. It's relatively cheap, once you've got the bike, because of the rules with the tyres, you can only use so many tyres per weekend. It kind of is really good in terms of capping it. So yeah, Superstock.
Obviously, we've had a glimpse of the plans in the garage. Are we allowed to talk about that now? Or...
Yeah, I might as well.
Go for it. You announce what you've got in the garage there.
So obviously, I've always liked my Hondas. I've run a Honda Superbike and that, so I've plumbed for a Honda.
Fantastic.
So it's there. I don't have any funds to actually physically run it yet, but like I said before, if you can get the bike, normally that's the biggest step,
So at the moment, is it just Tinmouth racing type of thing and just doing it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've got one sponsor, WGA Construction. Obviously, Keep Manx Glass, and
brilliant.
A guy called Peter Holland who always helps me out. He's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely room on the ship for more people to come on board.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's the opportunity. So you've got a bike and you go and racing, but there's an opportunity for sort of a title sponsorship.
Yeah.
If anyone is out there that sort of wants to be involved in racing and to do the Superstock Championship,
absolutely,
how exciting is that?
That's
Man, I'm not just saying it, but on this show I have got a bit of a track record of having people on who maybe haven't got a ride, and then the next week it's announced they've got a ride, or like people. So you never know who's listening.
We can't do it for ourselves, but we can somehow do it for others.
If anyone does want to get involved with Jenny for next year in racing, whether it be title sponsorship or maybe just like a grand here or there or whatever, what's the best way of getting in touch with you?
So my email, it's just my name, jenny@jennytinmouth.com, or obviously through the socials, my Twitter and Facebook. Instagram, it's just Jenny Tinmouth, just my name, so you should be able to find me.
We'll just call it let's say 10% commission. No, I'm just kidding.
20. And what's the business called where we're at?
So we're called Two Wheel Workshop, based in Ellesmere Port.
Fantastic. So is that obviously with COVID restrictions relaxing a little bit more each day? It'll be if you want to come down and see and have a quick chat about it and bring a checkbook.
And anyone local, I take it you do sort of bike MOTs and general maintenance on bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're MOT centre. Service and repairs.
And if anyone wants to bring her a new poster for a toilet, you know what I mean? Like
we're gonna get
Stuart Easton's board in there. I am the biggest shit in there. So
I've actually got there's actually a real nice poster in the van.
Don't you dare.
Now we've got a few. I'll get some Patreon questions up. We're on a Patreon. It's like a social media type of thing, just for the thing.
I was going to say, while you're looking for that, are you looking for like additional help, like in the paddocks, any extra team people? Are you happy with who you've got?
I think we're good as we are. Yeah,
right, that's good. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, not like Superbikes where we are every half an hour. We're you're not out a great deal, so there's not a huge amount to do to bike. So
Right.
in terms of that, we're cool.
Because the amount of people out there that don't have the funds that offer help, we get like messages saying, "Oh, can we come along and help?" And it's always nice to know, and people assume. And so
I must just mention this as well because it is quite funny. I've got a friend called Ginger Chris, and
is he a ginger?
he's got long, like sort of strawberry blonde hair, and but he lives like up near where I live. Like, do you know how there's the Tyne River?
Yeah.
And he looks quite like you, and so the lads call him Jenny Tinmouth. But I'll have to like on the YouTube video. I'll have to stick a picture. Yeah, but I've got quite a long question. I'll read it all out and then we can kind of go through it. Mike Orton would love to hear about the stunt work and how all that came about. Does she do any mentoring for up and coming young riders? I'm thinking specifically of the girls who are at the start of their career. She must have had loads of help and advice and can give them. She must have loads of advice and help that she can give them, should I say. How has the paddock changed since she was a novice to now? Did she meet any obvious barriers, or was it not like that? At the end of the day, if you're fast enough, then that's all that should matter. So we'll go from the stunt work. Talk us through that.
I actually thought of that on the way over here, but I totally forgot. I'm not just claiming his credit there. I generally thank you, Mike, for reminding us there. So thank you very much. So yeah, the stunt work. Yeah, talk us through that. How did that come about?
So I blame Whitton for that one. Somebody else.
I blame Whitton for this amazing opportunity.
Yeah, totally. I'm grateful to Whitton. He put my name forward for. He got asked. Needed a fast female rider to ride on the roads, so he put my name forward, obviously from doing the TT, and then just went down for an audition at Goodwood Circuit. And
that's where they held the auditions for it.
Yeah.
That is class.
So it went from there. So it was for a part riding over the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. So it was TT-esque kind of with a sheer drop on the side, So it's proper mountain riding. So hence they wanted a girl.
Well, name drop some films then. Go on then. What films have you worked on?
Mission Impossible 5 was the first one, and then Mission Impossible 6, and then a little tiny bit on the Mummy.
That's
and
cool.
Black Widow, which is coming out soon. And then we've just...
So this is like ongoing work. You're never bloody here. I'm amazed we've got you.
Well, the bike that I've just bought, literally, I've just come... Luckily enough, I've been able to work on the latest missions. I've just come back from Italy. And basically the money I earned, when I came back, I said, I'm massively grateful to stunt coordinator for the job. And I said, the money I've earned is either going to buy me this or this. And I texted him a couple of Superstock bike pictures and...
Chose.
Yeah, so when I got the bike, I said, I got the bike, thanks very much for the job. This is where it's gone,
He'd be like, no, cheers, Jenny, we could use that bike.
Yeah.
Will you backflip it off a cliff, Jenny? That's amazing.
And in terms of the stunt riding, is it kind of wheelies and stoppies and things?
No, because for film, they don't want it to be too stunty necessarily. They want it to look realistic, so sometimes they're like
on a Moroccan hillside with your elbow down. Oh, aye, that's realistic.
So you kind of have to style it up. You do have to style it up because they've got to film it, so it is kind of slow. You can't go flat out, so you've got to try and look fast. So it is very much trying to stick your elbow out and.
So is it a case of will they close off a road somewhere like in Morocco and just have a full film set, and then do they just say, right, Jenny, we need like an elbow down shot here or a knee down shot here, and you have to just like look fast?
Yeah, they sort of you do a few rehearsal runs, so they will completely shut off the entire road, and it's like.
Did you ride down the stairs?
Yeah.
That is not just elbow down stuff, man. They're like, have you seen the film?
Which in Mission
There's
Impossible?
two. I had to ride down. The first one I had to ride down, and the second one.
There's like a big car chase scene, but obviously, like the baddies on the. So she's a bad guy. There you go. So it's like coming down the set and the how like motocross style and jumping down.
That's Kieran Clark.
I don't care. You're all nuts because you're absolutely hooning. It looks it looks that unrealistic. It doesn't look. Why would you do that? And you're all just howling down these. That is so cool. Can you pause and.
You're so modest and like unassuming, like we're like sort of dragging him, and yeah, I'm in Mission Impossible, and like most people would be like buzzing about it.
It'll be the end of the episode. Oh, by the way, lads, thanks for having us on. Stop recording. I have the Nobel Peace Prize. I drink tea with the Queen. Any other secrets you want to chuck out?
Do you know how Maria got an MBE? What was that phone? Have you ever been asked? Anything along those lines?
I don't know. No, I don't know, and I don't.
She's been too busy in bloody Morocco. And and here's a question: Do you like drink a glass of wine, or what? Do you like a tipple at night, kind of thing?
No.
No, you don't drink.
No,
you don't drink at all.
No, I used to, but not
No,
so much now.
Because if I was on a film, I'd just sit there with a glass of wine, just tell it, bring it on, like, wait for me mates to knock on the door and go, oh, I'm just on the telly. Just on the telly, yeah, that's me riding down the stairs.
I've got cool story then.
Go on then.
The stunt coordinator asked me to go over to LA to promote the DVD.
Right.
I've never been to America before. I got on the plane and they were playing the film on the plane. So I took a selfie. I took a selfie of myself. It was quite sad.
Did you have like a stranger sitting next to you, or did you know the person you were travelling with?
No.
I would have just nudged him and just gone, mate, guess who that is? I've been straight on it.
Nah. I gave it to myself. I was like, it's quite. I've not actually ever showed anybody that. I'm too embarrassed, but it was.
You've got to put that on Twitter. When this podcast come out, you've got to put that on our feed. You've got to tag us in it.
Do you ever get
proud moment?
Obviously, most of your customers will know who you are and stuff when they come. But do you ever get anyone that just happens to come in for some bike repair and they get to you and they're like, "Oh, are you Jenny Tinmouth?" Type of thing? Do you ever get that?
I sometimes get you like the receptionist.
Really?
Can I speak to a mechanic?
Really?
No, not very rarely.
Have you seen Mission Impossible? Have you watched British Superbikes before?
No, I definitely don't do that.
Goodness me. And, speaking of Mike, sort of second question to do with young girls coming through the sport. There's lots of young ladies getting into racing at the moment. It's really cool to see. We had Katie Hand and Lizzie Whitmore on the show a while ago. Are you involved at all in terms of like mentoring or sort of providing advice or anything? Or
Yeah, so hopefully this year I'm going to be mentoring Katie and possibly a little bit for Lizzie as well. So
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we both. I've got mutual sponsor now with both of them. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to be able to do a bit of mentoring with them, which would be great. I'll be really quite looking forward to that. Really. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And another, it's quite a deep sort of topic, but I suppose
Be right downstairs in no time. Them three, you'll just see it in the next film.
And are you aware of Shani Pinfold?
Yeah.
And it's been very sort of topical recently that Shani's walked away from racing after had a few years at BSB in the Moto3 class, and then she did some European Juniors Super Sport, and she walked away from the sport on the sort of terms of sexism and didn't sort of feel like she'd given a fair crack, I think, or along those lines. From your sort of lived experience, obviously, especially when you first started racing, there wasn't many females in the sport. That's getting it's a growing community.
Yeah.
How's your sort of lived experience of sort of sexism in sport?
So mine's like I don't really have any kind of sexism, especially not at the start. So I can't speak for Shani. I don't know her experience.
Yes.
But me personally, no. Just I've found it always been really welcoming and helpful and yeah, fine. I think it is a sport where everybody wants to beat everybody. So
Of course,
you're all mates, but you're not mates. So
that'll never ever get labelled, will it? You know, that mate, not friend, like racetrack stuff. It's never going to get a label.
It's like any sport, isn't it? Competitive.
Yeah, it's a competitive environment. So there's going to be elements where it goes back to kind of playground stuff, and everyone's going to be on the receiving end, I think, of something at some point, male or female. So
yeah,
for me personally, I didn't. Maybe I'm ignorant to it. I don't know, but maybe there is. But likewise, there is for the guys. I think at sometimes as well. Some guys haven't got where they wanted to go for certain reasons, so it's not necessarily.
Mm-hmm. It's really nice to hear that in some sort of ways, because as a male, it's when you read something like that, it's when it's your sport as well, you sort of feel not responsible, but
any negativity
you're in a
the
community,
sport,
and it's like that. If someone said something derogatory about where you're from or things, you sort of feel a bit responsible, and it's maybe something that I've not really thought about, but it sort of it makes you question yourself and like your behaviour. And I've never seen it myself, but obviously I'm interested in your sort of lived experience, because it might be different. But
I have had experience where I could have possibly construed it as a sexist comment.
Mm-hmm.
And there is actually a photo where I was taking the mickey out of this particular comment, which only I know.
Right.
But I've looked at it, I've kind of valued the comment more and thought, this happens to guys as well, not just girls, and it's in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a big subject, isn't it?
There's lots of trolls online as well, isn't it? In
yeah.
every walk of life, like
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, whatever, you're always going to get.
Yeah.
I know you've got the perfect attitude for it. The rock and the stream just all flows over.
I think,
no, it's right. That's how it's.
I think if
you're there for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think if somebody is going to give a derogatory comment or an attitude, more for them. You just crack on and do your own thing. Yeah.
Damn
it's
right.
It's more negative to them than it should be to you.
Reflects back. Yeah, absolutely.
So-
And things like, do you know when you just said about the guy ringing up and asking to speak to the mechanic and things like that? Is that, do you sort of embrace that and take pride in the fact that, or like how do you do you just sort of like laugh at?
She puts another zero on the
no,
invoice. That's what she does. She's like that. It's like that, is it?
No,
Hang on, zero.
actually, I use it to my advantage now because obviously Brad's my partner.
then stick him
Yeah,
on.
so I'm like, this is for you. You have to,
Nice.
I'll just watch. I'll just stay and watch MotoGP.
It's our bellend with the wheel bearings.
Fantastic.
Sorry, I've got like another quick question. So obviously, watching the MotoGP, what would be your dream opportunity? You've been there. You've done the superbikes. That's a huge tick. You've done the TT. You've done so many things. But what would be your like absolute outrageous dream, just to go like me would be to get on Rossi's bike and have a howl round Qatar right now. That would be. Is that your dream then?
Yeah, because when I was in Honda, I thought, should I cheekily ask if I can have a go on a MotoGP bike? But I mean, they're going to say no. But I was like, if I would absolutely love to have a go on a MotoGP bike.
We've got a saying in the northeast where we're from, saying cheeky Ben's getting out.
Shy Ben's getting out.
Shy Ben's getting out.
Yeah.
Ben's is a Norwegian word for children, but we use it as like it's Geordie slang for like kids. Ben's. War Ben's.
Is there any, my next daft question then. So, any regrets, any opportunities down your career path, and you went, I wish I went left, and I wish I went right. Anything like that? No.
No.
Good.
No, I think I'm proud of everything I've kind of done and achieved. Yeah, I'm really, really.
So you haven't regretted not going back to the TD then?
No, because
I'm hanging on to this. We all want to see Jenny Tinmouth back at the TT.
I think I get to enjoy it from the other side without the pressure and watch you.
Have you ever done the classic? Or have you got any aspirations?
No, but that looks amazing as well. But then I was looking at them bikes. It's like, don't they just rattle apart? I'd rather be going down there on the
Hold on. The beginning of this podcast, we're talking about royalty, AGS and 7R G50s. Shame on you, Jenny. Shame on you.
Dom's very much part of the classic racing community.
My dad raced the 7Rs and G50s, and I've grown up in the classic paddock. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's proper like there's no crew chief mechanics. It's just rolled up cigarettes and dodgy bacon sandwiches and just proper mucking in, welding crap and crazy.
Have you ever been to a CRMC meeting?
Yeah. So I got to ride the classic Hanson Honda and I have had to go in Norton. I've obviously been lucky enough to get to Goodwood as well. So I've rode for Gordon on his Norton and Chris Barth on his Hanson Honda. So yeah, I've rode a couple of classics.
Right. But so you've never fancied the classic TT?
Kind of, yeah, because it's amazing. It is. I do like that. That the old school kind of way of racing. It is good crack, and it is more chilled out, isn't it? Definitely.
So this is the second exclusive, Chrissy. So she's got a Fireblade running stock 1000, and she's coming to the classic TT when it kicks back off. But is that a serious, like, if someone got on the phone, good bike, competitive bike that you can make a result on?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Possibly.
Paul Phillips might be ringing you up. There you go. That'll be great.
So we've got the season approaching. By the time this podcast goes out in a few weeks' time, it'll only be another few weeks until like the first BSB test and stuff. Aside from the official BSB tests, are you looking to do a little bit of Thundersport or like any club racing, or just straight in at the deep end?
It's sort of based financial, really. So I currently can't afford to do any of that. So I'm going to do Jamie Whitten track days and get on there for free.
Do you coach on that?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I was wondering how you get these for free. It's Jamie Whitten we're talking about.
See, I've got to give a plug to Jamie Whitten track days. They are, I know I worked for him, and I'm biased, but they are really, really good. Like one of the best places to go if you want to do your first track day, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And massive thanks because they've also helped me purchase this bike. So huge thanks to Jamie Whitten track days.
Good lad, Jamie. There we go. Any other plugs you like there? No, being serious. So, anyone else?
No.
So you got them all in for the Fireblade. But anyone, obviously, everyone listening to this, please, if anyone wants to get involved in a big team, please drop Jenny a line. I'm whacking the mic there, but drop Jenny a line and get in touch. And
That's it.
No sponsorship too small. Yeah, that's the way it is.
But have you got anything else like to any achievements that you haven't dropped in? Any films?
We'll find out on the way up.
Nobel prizes or anything. But no, but it's so nice to sit down and have a chat. And thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And as usual, massive thank you to our patrons and to our sponsor Colchester Kawasaki
And Stuart Easton in the toilet.
But I'll look forward. We'll catch up anyway in a month or two or whatever at the BSB. And best of luck for this season coming up.
Thank you.
See you in a bit, Jenny.
Cheers, Jenny. See you.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.